everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, Absolutely Non-League, the show dedicated to everything from the National League North, and National League South. And as always, we are in a collaboration with NL Fulltime. I'm going to address the elephant in the room really, really early. I do sound like a little bit like Marge Simpson. I've been told I sound very much like Sean Dyche this evening. So I'm just going to address that now. I do apologise. I did have laryngitis. I have still got it. But luckily, my voice is coming back. I just don't sound very girly at the moment. And I do still blame Harvey Gilmore's late winner against Southend because that goal has absolutely ruined me, but it was so worth it. But as always, I could not do this alone. The man who will probably save me when my voice does run out, Ben. How are you and how's your Monday been so far?
It's been okay. I've been off work today. Before I treat myself to a 4-day weekend over my birthday and everything as well. I've still got my voice. That's the main thing. So, but then when your team decide they don't want to bother showing up anymore, then there's nothing to cheer about anymore. So I'd rather be where they are at the moment, to be perfectly honest with you, Shah. So, but it is what it is, isn't it? But no, we're still in good health. That's all I can say.
As well, Ben, you know my tradition. I do always sing happy birthday. I am going to leave it until my voice is a lot better for that because I sound really bad anyway. I do not even want to hear myself sound even worse with this voice. So I will leave it, but don't you worry. I will sing happy birthday to you very, very soon. I bet you got away with one. Morgan. How are you and how's your Monday been so far?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Ra. Had a good weekend. Bought a new suit for my sister's wedding in a couple of months. York win. So, yeah, and then Sunday was nice and relaxed. Been watching the Winter Olympics too, which has been a lot of fun.
I mean, it's good for us at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rochdale and York. I'm hoping long may that continue. We will speak about that a little bit later. But I just feel like we're both really doing well at the moment. I'm hoping it lasts from a Rochdale perspective anyway.
It's anytime you see a clip, obviously we get into it a bit later, but it just looks so much better than the rest of the league.
Definitely. And as we did mention, we are in collaboration with NL Fulltime. Somebody has mentioned it in the chat. What a great tan, by the way, Rob. How are you and how's your Monday been so far?
Really good, thank you. Had a lovely restful week. Spoke to you, didn't I, from Egypt last week? Been back for the weekend. Was back in time for the games on Saturday, and got my own reasons why my voice might have packed up, but it's held together. Great to join you guys again tonight. And I was just thinking, relatively happy with my lot and with my team at the moment. But yeah, Ben, I know how you feel, mate. I mean, literally, we start off, don't we? We're going to discuss the 3 national leagues. We've got somebody representing the team who's first, somebody who's representing the team who's second, and then we really start to tumble down a bit, don't we?
Yes. Yeah, indeed.
Never mind. At least we've got the cream with us, eh, Ben?
We have. That's the main thing, isn't it? I mean, luckily we're all still in good health, and Shah is hanging on together in there. So, but when Shah does pack it in, Shah, please give me the nod, and I'll take over.
I will. Part of me, right, is hoping my voice comes back, but then it goes again on Wednesday because we're scoring so many goals against Forest Green. I will happily take that. But honestly, the start of this was that Harvey Gilmore goal. And if he ever does come across it, I blame you, Harvey, but it is a good way. It is in a good way. What a moment. But of course...
He will, Shah, he will. And I'm telling you why. Because if Michael Carrick now knows about and can talk about the Manchester United fan who's going to get his hair cut if they win the next game, he's replied questions on that in his interview. So I'm sure Harvey Gilmore will get to hear about your lost voice. I'm sure about it.
I'm hoping before the Forest Green game, the social media guy, when he does the interviewing, Greg actually says, like, did you realise you're to blame for Shah losing a voice and nearly not having a podcast? I'd be disappointed if not, and I do apologise, everyone. My laugh is even more terrible than usual today. I'm trying to not laugh. I sounded like Nutley the other day, and now I just sound like a broken mess. But we do have lovely, lovely regulars in the chat. We have Danny. He has put Danny Moss. Danny Moss. I won't sing that because it probably won't do a voice any good, but we will get onto him a little bit later. What a guy. What a guy. We have Joe as well. Evening, everyone. Perfect way to get back into the swing of it after a week away on holiday. Looking forward to this one. Do you want to tell everyone as well? We are starting with the North, South, and then the National League. Lots to talk about, even though there weren't really many games. I thought double game week this week, but there weren't too many games. But I know there's a lot to talk about. We have Steve. Was your Monday better than Saturday, Ben?
I was wondering how long it would take it before I saw him in the comment section. We'll leave that rant for later on, I think, shall we, Steve?
Low blow incoming.
We've got Luke as well. All right, everyone. No football for us again. So many games in hand on the teams above. Went to see the players train. What a special club. Rob and the players were chatting with fans. What a set of players and management, and for Rob and the club to organise. This made my day much better. Speaking of games in hand as well, Luke, you may have a few, but Hereford still haven't played from when we last spoke about them. It's getting ridiculous now, isn't it? Another 2 games postponed. 2 games.
Crazy.
Oh, Luke, what's Ed Francis like, just in case rumours are true? Yes, there's rumours flying around that we are linked and hopefully we'll be signing Ed Francis from Exeter City. He's a midfielder. That's the latest rumours.
Previously at Notts County and Gateshead, and been in the Football League, and rightly so. Very, very competent player. Very, very technical and solid in the middle of the park. Would you agree, Morgan?
Yeah, no, Ed Francis is excellent. It's when he got that move to Exeter and it felt like he just fit in. It was when Gateshead had that bit of a purge of their squad and he went to the Football League and you just kind of like, well, that was coming. There's a few of them, like the ones that end up at Carlisle. He was just one that fit in at the Football League.
The only thing that kind of like makes me worry about that is obviously we've got Harvey, we've got Casey Petit, we've got Ryan East. Obviously Liam Humbles is on loan, so I don't know if obviously it's just for squad depth and all the games coming up and that bit of experience, or if there's something that we don't know about injury-wise. I'm not too sure about that moment, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Sean has put as well, evening everyone, I hope all is well, up the bloody mighty Dale. Thanks, Sean. Right, we'll get on to the North. I'm hoping my slides cooperate with me. We shall see. Yes. Wow.
Well, would you look at that?
We've got here. Oh my God, the kid is growing a beard. A few more years and he'll get a full beard. I think that's at your expense there, Morgan.
Yep. I might just shave every time I come on this podcast just so it never grows.
To be fair, you had more stubble last week, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, I think so.
So we are going to start in the National League North. So who wants to go first on this one? Morgan, I will come to you on this first. Any you do want to give a mention to?
I feel like there's a bit of an elephant in the room there with a 5-1 win. Obviously, there's a few goals flying around, but Macclesfield 5-1. Kidderminster have had a decent season. They've had a bit of a weird one, obviously bouncing around a little bit. I think they started quite slowly. They resurrected their season a little bit up into 4th currently. So losing 5-1 to Mac, who are 7th and still in a bit of a playoff race. No, I don't think anyone expected that. Even away for Kidderminster, I don't think anyone expected a 5-1 defeat. Good win for Macclesfield. Obviously, they've had a lot of distractions this season, with them obviously playing Brentford on Monday night as well in the FA Cup. They've already knocked out one Premier League club. They've got another one to come. So to keep their focus in the league well enough to be a very good National League North team 5-1, I think that deserves a lot of credit.
Definitely. Really quickly as well, there is a lot of people in the chat obviously mentioning my standout is Hereford's game. I think we know why. 9 games in hand for Hereford. Bloody hell, didn't realise it was that many. I love Ben's shirt. I fancy a game of darts now.
Oh, it's the colour, isn't it? The front of, yeah, okay, I understand
Yeah.
that. It's an old kit, it's over a decade old. It is, but no, it's a homecoming shirt. That's what it's got a bit of a special attachment to me.
I also just want to say about that Macclesfield game, they had two goal scorers to score 5. Bugale and Mellor got a hat trick and Edmondson got 2. I think it's quite a nice way to spread them around when a brace and a hat trick gets you all 5. Quite impressive day for those two, or evening.
To be fair, for Macclesfield, I know we were talking about Damani Mellor a few weeks ago, but they have been sharing the goals, haven't they, to be fair to Macclesfield? When I have seen them and the goal scorers in recent weeks, I'm so sorry, my throat's giving up on me. Danny has put as well, that big win for Mac had South Shields running scared at the weekend. Jokes. Ben, anyone here you want to give a mention to?
I think, to be honest, we haven't mentioned them too much in recent weeks, but Kings Lynn, that's a good home win for them against Southport. We know it's been a very difficult season for them in comparison to the last couple of years where they've been in and around that top 7 and pushing from a promotion back to the National League. I mean, Southport, they have been, a bit up and down. They have been struggling, but it's still a key win. I think in terms of the connection, the fact that there was only, I think, a point separating, I think, the two maybe before the game. So it really was your typical 6-pointer, and with Kings Lynn coming out on top, gives them a little bit more breathing space between them and the bottom 4, which is key because they can't afford to go down. It'd be an absolute disaster for them, for what they've built. And for Southport, it does leave them in a bit of a difficult place at the moment because they've got to start picking up results. Because when you do look at the fact that Alfrington have still got a lot of games in hand, and yes, we can talk about Hereford as well. They've got 7 games in hand over Southport, and 9 points clear, 9 points off them at the moment. But I think we've always said that the key factor will be if Hereford's squad, and probably be a very small squad, can cope with the amount of games. I dare say, I don't think it can. I think if they do manage to survive, it'd be an absolute miracle. But Kings Lynn, I'd say, hopefully won't be too worried about it at the moment now, having picked up that key win on Tuesday. So it's a big step in the right direction for them.
Yeah, definitely. Just really quickly, while we're talking about that in Hereford, Joe was actually put in the chat, 1 more game called off for Hereford, and they will have as many games in hand as twice the number of wins they have. Shocker. That's crazy, isn't it? I know we mentioned it a little bit last week, but surely the National League have to step in soon, don't they, and kind of put a stop to this and maybe play somewhere else for the time being, because it's just a constant ongoing thing, isn't it? And I thought it was bad, obviously, Rochdale and what we had with our pitch. But for someone like Hereford and having all them games in hand, it's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Especially considering the position in the league too. So I know we do speak about it kind of all the time, but it's just crazy thinking this time last week they had the same conversation and they still haven't kicked a ball yet.
Yeah, this is we talk about the National League might need to step in, but they probably are having conversations all the time. I'd imagine, like I say, Hereford must be having contingency meetings. Hopefully they're close to announcing some sort of plan, because it's in everyone's interest to have one. You can never in football just hide and think, oh, we've been unlucky and hopefully we'll get no one's going to let off anything. Hereford need to play all of their games if they possibly can, first and foremost for the respectability of the league. Secondly, because they're going to need to pick up quite a lot of points to ensure that they're in the division next year. And it's just probably a matter of where they're going to go and what's practical and what can be agreed, rather than that nothing's really being done about it. I don't really have any contacts at Hereford. I don't know if Dickie does. He's not a million miles away from there, but maybe we could try and get some word from them. I'm sure their supporters, more so than us as onlookers, want some answers right now.
Yeah, they're looking at the form and everything like that. Well, and obviously fixture list. Since the 8th of November, they've only played 1 league game at home. So you think that's 2-3 months down the line, and I would have thought they would have been looking at it before. Even like I said, hopefully, you'd think with Hereford, with the way it's been going, they wouldn't have had to hope. They wouldn't have hoped for the National League to step in. Or I'd like to think they would have stepped in themselves, because they know their pitch has not been good enough for for a considerable amount of time. So I would have thought they've been looking at other options. But the problem is with that is, again, you've got to look for clubs in the local area that can ground share with them that are actually up to the National League North standard. I know it's not as easy as that. And also you've got to find the time amongst other fixtures. And if you're going to go and ground share maybe with another team in this league, you've got to obviously think about their fixtures as well and where you're going to be able to fit them in. It is a difficult one for them, especially even if they're looking maybe a couple of clubs further down below, like your Gloucester Cities that have got 3G pitch and everything. I know Taunton used them before. I know Truro City have used them before, but they need to go and find like a 3G facility, I think, somewhere. But like I say, it's so hard when there's not loads and loads of clubs that have got it up and down, in the National North. And I say it'd be an absolute, ball ache for whoever the secretary of the league, who would have to rearrange a lot of fixtures. So it is a difficult one, but you're right, Charlotte. They have to step in now because it is becoming a bit of a joke now. They've got 23 games to play in the space of 2.5 months, and that's going to be a lot. There's going to be at least 2 or 3 times a season they're going to have to play Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, if not maybe more. It's just it's not good enough. That's the thing. And for there's pause. They've had 9 home games to go to this season. It's absolutely ridiculous. You still haven't even played half their home games yet. So yeah, it's a very difficult spell for them at the moment. And if they pull it off, miracle of staying up, then you got to give manager credit because they must be so frustrated, the players as well, because they probably want to get out of there, don't they now?
I'm not too sure about this as well, Danny's, but can they be made to reverse them all?
Well, certainly not at this stage. It might be an absolute last resort that they look at, but there should still be, despite the fact the brutal reality of it, as Halifax know. I don't know if you ended up in that situation as well, Charlotte, Rochdale, but the bottom line is you have to start playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and obviously you don't want to do that, and they're going to have to do it at least twice, if not more now. But yeah, just I might have missed it if you said it, but just in case any of our listeners are confused, this is a double game week. We're looking at last midweek's games, aren't we? I just wanted to mention 2 quickly, Shah. I know you're going to come to me next anyway. Sorry to run off with it.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, I'm not using my voice then if you go ahead.
I thought really help you out. A good win for Dickies at Telford United in the week. They did come unstuck, as we'll see at the weekend, but another good win. It put them within a point of the playoffs. To go to Spennymoor and come back with all 3 points and a clean sheet, not many teams do that. Not many teams keep Glenn Taylor out, let alone Spennymoor Town as a whole. That was a good win. And a really, really good point earned very, very late on for Bedford Town. 97th minute it was. Tyrone Marsh got both goals in the game, his 20th and his 21st of the season. Really, really prolific down at that level and playing a major part in Bedford, making a real fist of trying to stay up this year. They weren't supposed to be there, as we've said many times. They're not really a club that's set up to sustain National League football, but they're doing a good job. They, despite that, and I know they've come unstuck at the weekend, they are 5 points clear of the relegation zone. That's all. They've had a couple of really good runs, and that's what's kept them out of it. Obviously, Nathan Ashmore's been recalled for a second time by Boreham Wood now. It must be some real straight talking, I think. Do you not think, between Luke Garrard and Nathan Ashmore over the course of this season? You're going out, right? We need you back, and we get you going out. We need you back. I do remember. Does anyone remember the end of the season before last when they got relegated? They needed a certain amount of points across the last 4 or 5 games. He said to Nathan Ashmore, "You've not been playing at the standards that you've shown previously. I need you to do it." And Nathan Ashmore promised him he'd do his utmost to get 4 or 5 clean sheets. He did it. They didn't concede a goal in those last 5 games, but they drew that last game 0-0 against Ebbsfleet and went down anyway. You kind of felt for Nathan Ashmore not beating him 5 games, and it still wasn't enough. But yeah, good point for Bedford in the week at Curzon, who are a little bit more comfortable really in mid-table. They'll have been, of course, crushed, as we all are, when 3 points turn into 1 so late on.
Has anybody else got any on the midweek fixtures that we do want to mention before we move on to the weekend?
No, I don't think so. I think it's all pretty straightforward other than that. I said Fylde winning 5-2 at Peterborough Sports was probably expected, to be honest. Although people have been a fairly good run, but Fylde seem to be final cinders now, and they're not going away from South Seas at the moment, that's for sure.
I think the only questionable bit of that is they hit 5, because that's not exactly a normal scoreline. But against a really poor Peterborough sports team, like, with how good Fylde are, when you're getting 2 from Ustabasi, 1 from Ormerod, and 2 from that Felipe, who's quite new, who I think is meant to be better than National League North level from what I've heard, hitting 5 doesn't feel too alien when it's that quality of an attack in that league.
And Peterborough Sports have had, I think, 3 7-goal thrillers lately. They come out 4-3 against Macclesfield, didn't they? And by the sounds of it, they went up there on a bit of a roll and threw the dice. And that's probably not too surprising a scoreline, is it? Another 7 goals, but a little too many in their own net. Their season and their destiny won't be defined by the result away to Fylde. I do feel we perhaps. I'm going to throw a question out there. Do we give Fylde the credit that they deserve? I think the brutal reality is they've not been a popular football club for lots of reasons. And sometimes it feels like we almost skim over them and don't talk about it. And if you're a Fylde fan, they're having a cracking season. They're trying to get back to where, of course, they were and they wanted to push on from, didn't they, in 2022 or whatever it was, that was sewn into their shirts, and they got much maligned for. It was just a very clear goal and a commitment, I guess, that they went for, and it backfired. The year that they should have gone up to the Football League, according to that plan, they actually went down, didn't they? But fair play to them. They stick at it, and I think they're in a pretty straight 2-horse dogfight for the National League North, something that words that might cross my mouth again when we talk about the National League.
I was just about to say that it's very similar to the National League, isn't it, in that aspect? I just wanted to quickly come on to Luke's comment, bless him. He's put, this is irrelevant to the National League North, but my local side, Hebburn Town, who are in a division below, play top of the league, play Hednesford, who are second. Hednesford just sat their gaffer today.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Hednesford sacked the manager today, and I've seen a few people say that's one of the weirdest sackings I've seen. They're second in the league in a pretty close title race from what I know. And yeah, they've sacked the manager today. I've not fully read into the statement or seen much on Twitter as to why. I don't know if there's been some falling out, because obviously managers we see leave it for a number of reasons, but it is a bit of an odd one to see a manager being sacked when in second place.
I mean, it's not our league, is it? But I don't know if you remember, but they did this similar time last year with Steve King. They sacked Steve King. They went on to finish quite healthy. That what they are is a very ambitious club. They do have a quite wealthy owner for that level of football, and they have quite ambitious plans. And but to be honest, I think they were on track when Steve King was in charge. And I shouldn't say too much about that because I've had a direct conversation with Steve King about it. I don't want lawyers to get involved, but I think they're quite demanding.
Just quickly as well, Johnny has come in the chat and put, hi Shah, Ben, Morgan and Rob. Hope you are all well. Hope your day is going well. We hope you're good as well, Johnny. Hope everything's good apart from football, because Johnny is a Sheffield United fan and currently Middlesbrough are beating them 2-0. But in all defence, I don't know if anyone keeps up with the EFL in the chat, but Middlesbrough are doing very, very well at the moment, and I'm actually tipping them to win that league, to be honest.
I think they're going top tonight on the back of that result, because Coventry have had a bit of a. But don't worry, fella, your season's not going to be defined by that result tonight.
Definitely. Rob, I'm going to come to you again in this one. Any on here you want to give a mention to? These are from the weekend's fixtures in the North, if anyone is listening on audio.
Yeah, just people might notice Telford losing. Did speak to Dickie about that as their first defeat in quite a while in the league. And he said it was a bit freakish. I think he said Worksop scored in the first couple of minutes, at which point Telford pretty much dominated the game, got themselves level. And one of those where they were pushing, trying to actually get the lead themselves, and Worksop scored with their only 2 chances apparently of the second half. If you're a Worksop fan and you're watching and listening and you disagree with that account, come on with your match report. But that's what Dickie had to say, and he's normally pretty honest. I think I think one of those days you just accept bad day at the office. You played okay, but the result didn't go your way, and you're just backing Ben on his point about Kings Lynn. If the 2-0 home win was impressive, certainly a 1-0 away win at Ratcliffe was terrific back-to-back wins for Kings Lynn, which has pulled him a little bit clear of trouble for now.
Definitely. There's a few draws as well in there, obviously from the weekend, as well as postponements. And we've got a very happy Luke. So Leamington versus Oxford City was 0-0. We all know Luke loves a good 0-0, so at least he's very happy.
I don't think that 0-0 really helped either team. When you look at the table, see, Leamington are rock bottom and are miles from safety, but Oxford only drawing. Southport drew Darlington, got a 90th minute equaliser through Jordan Slough, and Peterborough, I think, where's Peterborough on there? They got a 1-1 draw against mid-table Curzon team. So I feel like Oxford needed a little bit more than that. When the other teams around them are drawing, all it's done is just keep the same distance, and they're 3 points from safety at the moment. A draw against a bottom of the league Leamington team that are looking not far from dead already isn't a great result for Oxford. Obviously, Luke will be happy about it because he loves a 0-0. But in terms of what it actually means for the table, I don't think Oxford can be particularly pleased with that.
No, they've played 31 games as well, more than anybody else.
Yeah,
down there. Yeah,
I think they've got a 3G pitch as well. So when we talk about Hereford and not getting games on, Oxford, I'm fairly sure, have a 3G, 4G pitch, so therefore can get games on. And it's at this point you're saying, well, do you want the games now, or do you want the points? They've got the points. They've played most games except for Bedford, and they still don't have enough points to drag themselves out of it.
Just talking about Luke and his 0-0s, we have Graham, who loves a Desmond as well. So Desmond Claxon is up. So Southport 2, Darlington 2. Very, very good result, in my opinion, for Southport, especially a Darlington team who have been doing well recently, to be fair to them. I know we've commented on them a few times, but very, very good point for them. We've got Shawnee in the chat as well. Shock, a certain team's games being postponed, and I wasn't on about Alfreton, South Shields and Spennymoor. Yes, Hereford. We have mentioned that and spoke about that, haven't we? I don't know if anybody noticed as well over the weekend, but Danny has put poor Radcliffe. Their neighbours Bury stole all the goals. I'm pretty sure, was it 9-0? If I remember quite rightly.
Yeah, 9-0, yeah. Impressive.
Very, very good win.
You're on their way back.
Very good win. No, do you know what? I miss Bury. I say it so many times, but I really, really do miss Bury. We've got Johnny, bless him, in the chat has put, just want to say I'm grateful for being part of this lovely community. I'm doing well, thanks, Shah. Our season has been so poor, Rob, and just have a feeling Wilder might be gone again. We'll talk about that a little bit more on Thursday, but I'm glad you're okay, Johnny, and thank you for your kind words as ever as well. We love that you feel part of the community, and that's the feeling we always do want to give off, so thank you. We've got Chris as well. Good evening. I can actually say that I am back in the UK, and it's sad that I had to leave Carol, my fiance, especially when she was in hospital. She is doing fine now, so I'm so thankful. I'm so sorry to hear that, and I hope everything's okay. I'm glad you got home safe, and obviously I'm so glad that your fiance is doing very, very well. And if there's anything we can do, please let us know, Chris. But yeah, sending love to you both. But Ben, I am going to come to you. Any on here you want to give a mention to?
Probably the late show at Bedford. Talking 86 minutes, Bedford 1-0 up and looks like cruising to a crucial win. And I think Chester, we've said it a few times this season that we haven't really spoken about it probably enough. I think just because it's been a bit of a very up and down season for them. But to grab, like say, 86-minute equaliser, or to 87-minute equaliser, and then finish at Shimpton, netting in 95th minute. It's a big win for Chester, like I say, just, for them, they're probably looking at still an outside chance of players. I mean, they're only 5 points off, but the trouble is a lot of teams above them have still got plenty of games in hand, so it's probably a big ask for them. I think, to be honest, for their supporters now, if they'd offered for the season to end now, they probably would take it, to be honest. I think it's just been one of those for them where it's just, it's been too inconsistent, and ultimately it's going to cost them a top 7 finish. We know full well that Chester are a club that should be in that top 7, given the club, the stadium, the history. It should be higher than what it is. But like I said, no club's bigger than the league they're playing in, and it's been a bit of a disappointment for them. But at this moment now, they'll just be looking at get to the 50-point mark, and then maybe they'll have the advantage of starting to plan for next season before a lot of teams, because a lot of teams will be chasing that top 7. But I think it's going to be out of the question by that point for the Cheshire side. So but it's a really good win for them against, like I said, Bedford side that are very hard to beat, particularly on their own turf as well. So that's cracking 3 points.
Morgan, I'm going to come to you next. Any on here you do want to give a mention to?
I mean, I've briefly touched on the Southport-Darlington game. Darlington now 5 unbeaten. I know I've spoken about them in the past, but that Southport with that 90th minute equaliser, with Oxford drawing with Leamington, and what was the other draw? There was another draw down there. I can't remember who it was. But a few teams down there drew. And so it just became... it's the Peterborough one. So Peterborough drew against Curzon, which is a decent result. Oxford were getting a 0-0 with Leamington. In the 90th minute, they needed that. And obviously, it's a big draw against a playoff chasing team. Or a team that's going to get playoffs, most likely. So it's just... Yeah, we've spoken... We know who Jordan Slew is. Obviously, I'm fairly sure he played for Dale, didn't he, Shah? Obviously, I know Jen's...
I think we had him on loan. He's one of them players, isn't he? Has been at so many clubs, and you're always like, oh, I didn't realise he was still playing football. But I think because he's so well known and he's been at so many places, he just shows up. I think he was at Morecambe. Was it last season?
Yeah, he was definitely at Morecambe.
Halifax, I think, before that.
Yeah.
Because I honestly thought of Jen when I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, former Morecambe boy. So yeah, it's just he pops up with the goal, and in the end, it's quite important for everyone around in that relegation scrap. And obviously, Darlington now go 5 unbeaten and continue their good season.
Do you not feel like with Jordan Slew as well, he always scores them vital goals? Like, you won't hear of him for a while, but then he'll pop up and it'll always be a real vital goal, won't it? So don't know if obviously it's his experience and stuff, but yeah, I completely agree, Morgan. Like, he just pops up when they need it the most.
One other game.
Go on, sorry, Rob.
Yeah, I was trying to save your voice again. One other game we should touch, because it looks as if it was the game of the day, and having just delved in a little bit more, it most definitely was. So Merthyr, we're sorry, Merthyr, we put the mockers on you when we all tried to build a case for the fact that you were still in the title race 3-4 weeks ago, didn't we? And invariably, I think they are out of it now. They signed Kiban Rai from my club, Aldershot, a week or so ago. It's a move that had been in the offing for a little while. And he scored. I'm not sure if it was his first or second game, but he scored 11 minutes in to put them ahead. And they doubled their lead 25 minutes in, and it was going really well for them. But Chorley scored twice in 5 minutes to get it 2-2 at half-time. And then 90+5, a Tom Carr winner for Chorley, who, of course, are pretty much in the mid-table and might feel that they've not quite hit their levels this season. But what a great win for them, having trailed for most of the game, or from very early in the game, to actually win it late on. Cracking win for them, and a bitter pill to swallow, I'm sure, for Merthyr, having been 2-0 up. But they're still very well positioned overall. They still look a really good bet for the playoffs, which is incredible, really. It's just as incredible as Boreham Wood and Scunthorpe being in line for the playoffs in the division above, because they got promoted last season.
Exactly.
I mean, it's also a fourth defeat for them in a row as well. I mean, is the effects of Ricardo Rees now starting to show? I mean, obviously initially it wasn't at the start because they were still clinging on to results, but like you say, Rob, I think the fact they've still got 11-point gap between them and 8th place is just shows what a grace it is to have if they could go on sort of a bad run like they have done and still be so comfortable in the playoffs at the moment. It really is a testament to what they've done. But does it get to a point, is it just a bit of a rut for them, or does it feel like maybe it's going to start to slide down the table a little bit? Because 4 defeats in a row has just been unlike them this season. When you've got momentum, you seem to carry it on all the way through to the end of the season. But But then now losing your top goal scorer, it's going to have effects because obviously that's a lot of goals they've lost up.
I think a big thing for them is if they do finish third, they're almost in that third place of not quite hell, but like if you finish third, you don't get the setup game of the first round of the playoffs. You're then hosting a team that's got momentum, and you've kind of the season could end almost now, and they've got nothing to play for because they're not in a title race. They're going to make playoffs. If they finish third, they can just kind of trudge along to the end of the season, have no momentum, nothing to play for, and then they have to wake themselves up against a team that's already won the first round of the playoffs. And it just feels like it's set up for that playoff semi-final home loss that we've seen so often, where a team has had not much to play for. I think you could say Forest Green had it last year, where nothing to play for, we're going to finish third for a while, and then they get beaten at home. And I just think almost losing a few more games might wake them up a little bit, and they can kickstart their season in March, get a bit more momentum, and maybe give themselves a better chance in the playoffs. If they are inconsistently third between now and the end of the season, I think they'll just sleepwalk to a home semi-final loss.
Just going to really quickly as well go to this one, because obviously Chris is spending more, and he has been sending his match report in. He's put Telford at home, didn't capitalise after the win versus Buxton, and lost at home to Telford, and now another game to rearrange. The weather in the northeast has been awful of late. No wonder Shields and Spennymoor games were off unless you have a 4G pitch. Has been pretty shocking, to be fair, up north. For once, it's not actually been that bad up on the northwest, which is a massive shock because usually it's terrible. So we've had it quite lucky, to be fair. But has anybody got anything else you do want to mention about any of these games from the weekend? We all good?
No.
Let me just double check that I've not missed anything else. Right, we will look at the table. So, top of the table, this is the National League North table, is South Shields on 66 points. AFC Fylde a second on 60 points. Merthyr Town a third on 56 points. Fourth place, we have Kidderminster on 51 points. Radcliffe, they are fifth on 49 points. Arlington are sixth on 47 points. And Macclesfield do have that last playoff spot at the moment. They are seventh on 45 points. And in the relegation zone, 21st, we have Oxford City on 28 points. Alfreton Town are 22nd on 25 points. Hereford are 23rd on 22 points, sorry. And as we mentioned, they do have a lot of games in hand. And Leamington are bottom of the National League North on 19 points. The only good thing for Hereford, with them not playing, is the goal difference isn't as bad as some of them around them, I guess. The only positive, really, isn't it? And Chris has put, Spennymoor have to play Fylde away tomorrow night. Oh, boy. You never know, Chris. You never know. Think positive. Think positive. So we are going to last week's midweek fixtures in the National League South. Only to two. So we have Dover Athletic 2, Torquay United 3, and Ebbsfleet United 2, Hemel Hempstead 2. Any shockers here, Ben, or just pretty much straightforward?
Well, I mean, I think we got to give Torquay the credit because they were 2-0 down. They were at Dover after about, I think, 15 minutes. So, to have their characters come back, that's it's been a long journey for them on a Tuesday night for both players and fans. So, it's a big win for them because I say Dover, they have been inconsistent the last couple of months, but Crabble's still, a difficult place to go to in terms of the pitch. Obviously this time of year. But Cody Cook, when you've got someone like him, amongst your ranks, you've always got a chance. I know he's received probably a little bit of criticism from some supporters this season, but he grabbed 2 goals in sort of quick succession for them. And I think it was Sam Dreyer that got the winner in the second half for them. So it's a big win for them, and it puts them right back in the mix now of the title race. I know they didn't play at the weekend because they were due to have the first versus second fixture against Dorking, which got called off quite early. So that'll be set up for a Tuesday night, I think, at the end of March it is. So that'll be quite tasty. That will. But yeah, no, you've got to give Paul Watson some credit because his side showed of not giving up, and they seem to be in a good place at the moment where they're delivering good performances, and they're playing some nice stuff and scoring some really good goals. And I'm sure one man in our comment section would have been very delighted with those 3 points last week.
I do have a match report from him as well, which I will read really, really quickly. So he has put, Joe, brief report, big win, 2-0 down, lost our centre-back to injury, made some tweaks, and then Cody Cook scored 2 crackers and our annual Sandrea goal. Proper gutsy win.
Yeah, it was. Fair play to him. Cody Cook, very impressive, those goals. And if you think Torquay did well coming back to win that one, Emil, are they with or without an H this week? Emil were 2-0 down at Ebbsfleet with 6 minutes to go and scored one on 84 minutes and then I think one at 90 plus 6. Would have been gut-wrenching that for Ebbsfleet because as it was, they at this stage now, they'd have been on 50-something points. They'd have been really hanging on to the shirt tails of those sides, pushing for the title, and it left them still in the 40s and a little bit further afield. But Hemel, they're not going away, are they? They're clinging on to their own playoff hopes.
Sylvie should as well. We all love a bit of Hemel, don't we? Like I said, now I can pronounce my H's. They're doing brilliant. They're doing well. All it took was me to pronounce my H's. Joe has put as well, got a problem with that. Ebbsfleet and conceding leads. Did it again on the weekend. They don't kill games off.
And I think the substitutes are killing them as well. I think a lot of their supporters are saying that they're making substitutes at the wrong time to probably the wrong changes as well. I mean, if you're tuning up at home with 6 minutes to go, you should be seeing the game out. It doesn't matter who you are. And it's worth noting as well that Hemel did have a penalty saved as well in the game from Matt Hall. So it's probably in some ways a point game for Ebbsfleet, but the majority will probably say, look, it's 2 points dropped at home. And against, like say, a playoff side, you should be going for the jugular and make those changes. Like I said, maybe with a couple of minutes to go, maybe to see it out and trying to waste time a little bit with maybe 15 minutes to go. Still can all change. And Hemel are a good side, and they're like Ian Allison's. The Allison family have put together a side that have been very hardworking, have just not given up this season. It could have been so easy when they've had a couple of bad results to think they're going to start slipping down the table, but they keep replying back with a statement win. And obviously it wasn't a win for them, but it's a big point on the road against a side that are normally very good at home. When they've been in this league. So yeah, to go on Tuesday night there, 6 minutes to go, that's a huge point for them in the playoff chase.
Should we move on to the weekend's results?
Do we have to?
Ben, I'm going to ask you a really big favour. Can I leave you with hosting duties just while I go and quickly fill my drink up? I can feel me getting more raspy. I'm sounding more like Rod Stewart now than Sean Dyche. I can't sing like him, though. Long 2 minutes.
Good news is she's not looking like Rod Stewart yet, so that's good.
Oh yeah, no. When Rochdale, the weeks to keep going, Rochdale will keep aging her, but week by week. So, Morgan, I'll come to you first. Any standouts for you from Saturday's games?
Yeah, there's a couple, Desmond. I'll take the top one, Hampton Richmond 2, Hornchurch 2. Obviously, complete opposite end of the table and the late drama that came with it. Farnborough also drawing against Maidenhead. Obviously, Maidenhead not quite as good as Hornchurch this year, but with Farnborough drawing, Hampton needed that draw with how close that is. With Hampton only above them on goal difference as it stands, and it's only 1 goal separating them as well. So between Hampton and Farnborough, they are really fighting to try and Bath, to be fair, all on 29 points, all fighting for the 19th and 20th spots. But Hampton getting a 91st minute goal through an own goal to make it 2-1, and then 3 minutes later, 94th minute equaliser at home against a Hornchurch team that are very good. They've got the experience of players like Balanta, who scored, and Darren McMahon as manager, obviously several years at Dagenham. They've got that experience at Hornchurch through it basically being a Dagenham old boys club. So it's impressive for Hampton to dig deep when they really needed it to get 2 very, very late goals and get a much needed point there.
Yeah, I mean, Balanta, obviously we can talk about his experience, but they don't come any more experience than Alan Massey, who scored the 95th minute equaliser for Hampton. Like, so we were just talking about, you're 2-0 up in the game. You should be seeing now with 6 minutes to go. I mean, you were going to stoppage time for Hornchurch, which would have been a big win for them in terms of keeping that, pressure off other teams as well, at the top with them. That's 2 points lost for it. Would you say, Rob?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. It's I think games that you feel that you should have won and you are ahead in and you don't win. Yeah, it niggles, doesn't it? It really frustrates. Did you want me to go on to a game or
go for it? You go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one that I've seen the highlights of, and there's a particular player I wanna point out. So Dagenham and Redbridge 4, Chippenham 2. Chippenham did take the lead in this game. Obviously, they're having a difficult season, aren't they? And that would have meant a lot going ahead at Dagenham. But they had Reece Fleet sent off just after half time. I kind of watched it, and I'm sure most of us have played, and sometimes you see the ball and you go for it, and he's gone in with quite a high foot for it at the same time as the Dagenham player has put his head there. And it does happen. I don't know that person, Reece Fleet. I don't know his character. I don't know but I just wanted to. I think he was a bit unlucky. I think he genuinely just saw the ball, went for it. The guy put his head there, and it ends up looking horrendous, doesn't it, when you see a boot near someone's head? Referee was fairly close. He gave a straight red, and it was the beginning of the changes in the game. But I just wanted to say for Dagenham and Redbridge, although they had 4 different scorers in that, it was the scorer of the 4th goal who played a part in all 3 goals. And that's Joe Haig, who, he didn't quite cut it. He was a Chelsea youngster. Aldershot were quite excited when they signed him, but he didn't quite look physically ready for the National League. So I think he then went to Farnborough, and he was at Farnborough for a while. Now he's at Dagenham. I tell you what, if you give him time and space on the ball, he can really hurt you. And I think I'm right in saying that he had a hand in all the first 3 Dagenham goals and then strolled through himself to put the 4th one away. So a really good day for Joe Haig, a good day for Dagenham, much needed win for them. And another difficult one where they'd have been licking their wounds, Chippenham. And I don't know if any of you other guys saw it, but I was just going to say I understand why the red was given, but I felt a little bit sorry for him because I don't think he was looking at the other player of the opposition coming in. He just saw the ball.
Well, I think there's only one result that people want to mention because it's the big one of the weekend. I thought we'll get out of the way, but then again, I'm sure you've got a report from Steve, hasn't he? Didn't know if you wanted to read that
yes,
first.
I do. Yeah, of course. So Steve has put Maidstone away. Interesting Saturday spent. The best part of 4 hours trying to get there. Thank you, M25. Finally arrived just as the halftime whistle blew, despite the delayed kickoff. But at least I didn't have to see Gilbert score against us again. It wasn't exactly a spectacle. Neither team were anywhere near their best, but we did more than enough to say we deserved the points on the day. And he's also put only away win of the weekend, up for Rebels, and then he's put Farnborough coming from 2-0 down as well against the scum. Love to see it.
See, I disagree a little bit with Steve because I think Slough were much better than us, to be honest. I was actually really impressed with them, I must say. After a first half where it's been fairly even match, we should have scored after about 90 seconds. Mo Fowles missed a header from about 6 yards out. And then they've created a couple of good opens themselves. They were very good down the wing, I have to say. I was really impressed with, a couple of their players, particularly the left back, I think it's Tyrese Dice. I was really impressed with him, constantly at us all the time. We really did struggle to handle him, to be honest. We went for a 3-5-2. We had a few players out, with Niggles. We asked George Fowler to play a wing back, which isn't his usual role. And Jeffy Tangu's normally a left, attacking left winger for us. He's playing as a left wing back. So we are sort of down to the bare bones because we've lost Anthony Papadopoulos, last week for being recalled back. Well, his loan ended with us. He's gone back to Crawley. I know he didn't particularly probably want to stay. It's it was a difficult one to take, to be honest. Because second half we were, I think for me, as George mentioned after the game, we were just shambolic defensively. The 2 goals we've conceded are criminal. 2 well, first one's a through ball. Again, no one's cut it out, and again, playing free at the back, you do leave yourself open to potential counter attacks, and they were good on the counter attack as well. And then the second goal, we've been done by an ex-player of ours, and Ruben Jackpoke, who pulls it back, and it's Jalen Drakes-Thomas who puts it away. And like I say, I think he's right in terms of that Steve said, it wasn't a great spectacle. It wasn't, because most of the games we've played this season haven't been great spectacles, because that's just the way we play. We do everything we can to just win by the odd goal. But no, do you know what? I got to give Slough a lot of credit. I think they were excellent, particularly in the second half. Although Scott Davis did his best to try and score an own goal for us in the first 10 minutes. Thanks for that, Scott. But we didn't need the pissy, I must say. But you know what? I know we absolutely love him on the podcast, but he really is a top fella. He was very, I think he got a very good reception from us, staff and everything. And when actually, and then first time I've done it this year, I've gone to actually shake his hand, as they were coming off at the end of the game, just to say well done, because look, they fully deserved to win the game. And you could see how much it meant to their supporters. They've been on a good run of late. Slough. They were, celebrating, like they've just beaten their local rivals. But look, it's a huge win for them, because I think it's the first time they've come to our stadium and won. So and it's a great day out for them. And like I say, fair play to them, because their supporters, like I said, didn't get there till half time, so they would have missed 45 minutes of it. And to kind of see a second half turnaround, they probably wish that they'd done that all over again, because that probably wouldn't worth it, I would have thought, for the 3 points. But it's a massive disappointment for us, because we're now 5 points off the playoffs, and ultimately I think we're far too inconsistent at the moment. We seem to get one really good result, and then we follow up with a couple of particularly bad results. It's second week on the trot now. We've dropped points from a winning position. I'd love to see how many points we've dropped this season from winning positions, because every time we seem to concede a goal as well, we just have no character to come back. And we've got, like I say, we've got to go and put it right tomorrow against Tommy Widrington's Eastbourne Borough. And, they're in a bad run of form at the moment. They've won one home game this season. So we're sort of on a hide into nothing, because if we win, we're expected to win. If we lose, it's an absolute disaster. So, the players have got to step up now. And, if you want to be in those top 7, you've got to go to a place like Eastbourne. At least you have I wouldn't say that at all, Steve. Honestly, I would not say that at all about
You'll
us,
never.
because
The thing is, I've got to be honest. I've come in on that on the Eastbourne. I was looking at the table, and you're right about those 3 sides all on the same points. Bath and Farnborough and Hampton, all trying to. It's a bit like musical chairs, isn't it? There's 2 chairs, and they want to make sure that they've got their bums on them. And then below that, there's no other way to describe it. Those other 3 teams are adrift. It's like 7-8 points, isn't it? And they're going to need to. I have been surprised. I've been watching Tommy Whittington's teams for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and he goes into every single game with a plan to try and win it. And they obviously haven't been, but Maidstone can't go there passive at all or go for a tight game, because he will have, that man will have whatever 11 players go out on that pitch champing at the bit. I know it hasn't happened yet. I keep waiting for it. I expect to see them start picking up points and wins and make a real fight of it yet under Tommy. I really do. But it hasn't happened as yet. Just final word on Scotty Davis and his Slough side. It wasn't a great time to play them, really, Ben, was it? That was now their 6th win in 8. And for them to have stuffed 5 past Chelmsford and then gone to Maidstone and win, I think Scotty is quite rightly, from the tweet I saw him put out, pinching himself right now. They have no right to be getting some of these results with the players they've got, the budget they've got, and the way that they've continually, progressed players on, which I know he takes a lot of pride from, but players who get to this level, who start to look really, really good, and then they're gone, and it can't be difficult sometimes being Slough Town. So, fantastic run for them. And, are you going to the game? You work for the media team, don't you? You're going tomorrow night?
Yeah, so we'll be there tomorrow night. I mean, it's got good. Look, we've got good memories there. Normally, when we go to Eastbourne, we've got in different records. I mean, we went there and won, obviously, there in the playoffs last season. So obviously, we've got that, sort of as motivation, I guess, in life. But going there on a Tuesday night, which we did last season as well, we lost 1-0 and finished with 10 men. So it will be a really tough game for us, because Eastbourne are in the stage now where they have to start winning games now. And And like I said, Tommy Richardson's side go out to attack, and they're going to need to do that now because I think they'll probably look at us and think probably it's a free hit again because we're one of the sides, going towards the top of the league, probably not expecting anything. So they'll probably feel, the pressure's off them. But they've got a good team. That's the thing. They've got some really good attacking options there. And I just, for whatever reason, it really isn't working at the moment for them. And, does it make maybe a win against us might kickstart it for them? Possibly. I don't know. But I think it's probably a bit of too much of an ask at the moment. But they definitely need a result tomorrow. But then again, so do we. So it'd be an interesting one for sure. But I don't think both sides are going to be looking out to just go for a boring 0-0. I think both sides need to go out and win the game tomorrow for me. So I'll be interested to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, just reading Joe's comment, I went onto Transfer Market as you were talking, and I felt you can filter a league table by minutes, and I filtered it from the 76th minute to the end of the game, and you are 13th in that period of time, and only Farnborough have more draws. Your record is between the 76th minute and full time is five wins, 20 draws, 4 losses, and Farnborough have 4, 21 and 4. It's obviously small sample size of 15 minutes at the end of games, but only one team have drawn more games between the 76th and full time.
Yeah, and and that's why I get really confused because we do 3 mornings a week and we should be fitter than a lot of the teams in this division, against the part-time sides. But I think sometimes George works a bit too hard. I think in training, sometimes I have watched training a few times, and sometimes you probably just need to take it down a little bit because look, these players. We are blessed with a big squad. We've got, like I say, we're not even able to fill the whole bench at the moment. Obviously, we're allowed 7 subs. We only had 5 again on Saturday. And, we really are sort of struggling because if we lose a couple more players to injury or suspension, we really are in trouble. So we've conceded a lot of late goals this season, particularly, the opening weeks of the season where if we'd, saw out games properly, we would have been, top of the league. But, ifs and buts, that's the thing is, it's a difficult one and just hasn't improved as the season's gone on. We haven't scored nowhere near enough late goals. We get weaker as the games get on. We don't get stronger, and that's a big concern for me. And I think that's ultimately what's going to cost us a playoff spot maybe this year.
Do you think it's possibly physical over mental? Mental over physical? Because I know people talk about when we were in the National League North and so many times we're like, we're York City, we've got this pro squad, and then we'd drop points against semi-pro teams. People are like, but we're full-time, we should be able to beat semi-pro teams because they get tired. But I don't think that matters anymore. You see semi-pro teams that can constantly... you've got semi-pro teams in the National League that can still compete up until the 95th minute. How much do you think of it isn't physical anymore? You can have really good physical fitness as someone that isn't paid full-time to be a footballer. How much of it do you think is mental instead?
I think it is partly mental because I think the players are getting a bit scared because they've been in the position so many times where they've been winning games in the closing stages. Crowds get on top of them and then ultimately they bottle it. And that's what I think we did again on Saturday. We bottled it. It wasn't a last-minute goal, but obviously it was fairly late on. And I just think that, the players have not got the experience enough to see the games out. I think we've tried too many times to go and grab that, second, maybe third goal to kill the game off when ultimately we should be slowing the game down. At Tunbridge last week, we should have lost the game. It should have been another last-minute goal, but we were very fortunate to walk away with just a point. So I think it's just, I can't understand why it happens all the time because we've got good players. That's the thing. It's not a bad team we've got. I said that we would finish, towards just above the bottom 4 this year, but they've proven time and time again that they can get results. But I think you're right. I think it is more mental than physical now. And again, I think they just need to get a good 2 or 3 wins in a row, build that momentum again, and hopefully it might set them down. But it's a bit of a struggle at the moment. And I think the lack of experience in comparison to what we had last year is what's costing us. We haven't got enough streetwise players, I think, and that's just been the struggle, I'm afraid.
Johnny's happy in the chat. They've pulled one back. Patrick Bamford has scored and got a goal back for Sheffield United. Hi Lee, hope you're okay. Just wanted to acknowledge the fact as well, he was always talking about Jim Bentley, and Jim Bentley is now back in football. So Lee, it's as if you had a crystal ball and you knew it was going to happen. But it's lovely to obviously see you. Everybody go and follow Lee as well if you've not followed him on the socials. Great football content as always. We have Joe as well. He has put, what a weekend for Dorking and Torquay. Maidstone lose. Worthing only scrape a draw. Ebbsfleet blow another lead. Maidenhead only get a point, and Hornchurch blowing a 2-0 lead after 92 mins.
I wouldn't get too confident, Joe, because we're not in the title race anyway. So no, we don't need to include us in there.
We've also got Tommy as well. He has put a good weekend for Torquay and Dorking without kicking a ball. That comeback victory at Dover on a tricky pitch was massive. Worthing's fall off since the turn of the year is surprising. I feel like it's us again. I feel like we talked about Merthyr. They've gone on a bad patch. We spoke about Worthing. They've gone on a bad patch again. Maybe we're like manager of the month award, where we just jinx the teams we talk about positively.
Crazy as well, because they had to score very late on just to get a point at Dover.
Yeah, 97th minute, wasn't it?
And against 10 men as well.
Yeah.
And it's their 7th game without a win. They've had 4 draws and 3 defeats. And the last time they won was on the 30th of December against Dorking 3-2. So, yeah, they've not won a game of football in 2026. But to be fair, Lee, you went. To be fair, Lee just popped up in the messages, and Morgan, you went quite big on this last week, didn't you?
I can dig that hole again.
Very big.
I don't think we can add much more to it, really, other than to say that Worthing they're not out of it. They're 4th. They're in the 50s points wise. They have a good side, and they have a pretty capable manager who just needs to work out what it is he needs to tweak. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think at the end of the season, we'll look at it and say that's another good season from Worthing, like we will have done when they made the playoffs plenty of times before Hinch moved to York. And it was like, oh, Worthing had a good year, but they've not won the title. And I think we're going to do the same at the end of the year. And when you look at it after 46 games, it's going to tell a different story than after what we're on 30 now, aren't we? About 30 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope it doesn't continue like this for them, but I feel like Worthing are becoming the Brackley of the National League South, where literally season after season after season they're right up there, and they reach the playoffs and then they don't quite get it done. Now, of course, they were one of 6 sides that went into the final day last season. They could have won the league, couldn't they? And they might still get themselves back into that position this season, but. As Brackley proved last year, the only way to really make sure you get up there is to actually, take the title. It's so difficult. We focus a lot on how difficult it is for teams in the National League to get up to the Football League, but it's a similar story, isn't it? Trying to get up from the north and the south up to the top division.
Definitely. Rich has put in the comments, Hinch doesn't have a plan B. And Joe has mentioned as well, what are we seeing? I feel with Worthing is people underestimate the ability to grind out results. Every team can get results when playing well. The best teams can get results when playing poor. And he's also put, so often you see people criticised for being pragmatic or direct, but the best teams can adapt to the state of a game to get results, while some just stick to plan A, i.e. pass.
Mm-hmm.
He's on form tonight, isn't he, Joe? He did message me earlier to say he's not going to come on because he feels a little bit out of the loop, having been away on his holiday. But we're certainly getting a good blast of his opinions, aren't we?
Yeah. This made me laugh as well. Danny's put hold back thought for National League. Saturday's games, that's with us, I'm guessing. For pass. Just really quickly as well, I think this one's for you, Ben. He said, do you want Charlie Cooper to make up the numbers?
Oh, thank you. I think we could do better than that, to be honest with you. No offense, Charlie Cooper, but depends what money's left in the budget. They say we haven't got much left in the budget, but we just need some bodies now. Hopefully they might actually look around the 23s. That'd be nice for a change, because that's the whole point of why we set them up. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else have anything to add on these fixtures before we move on? No, I will read the National League South table. So, top of the table, and if Joe is still watching, very pretty sight for him. I'll leave it up for a few more seconds. So we do have Torquay United at the top on 56 points. Dorking Wanderers are second on 53 points. Hornchurch are third on 53 points. Worthing, they are fourth on 52 points. Western Supermare are fifth on 49 points. Ebbsfleet United are 6th on 49 points. And 7th place, at last playoff spot, Hemel Hempstead, also on 49 points. And in the relegation zone, 21st, we have Farnborough on 29 points. Enfield Town are 22nd on 22 points. Eastbourne Borough are 23rd, also on 22 points. And bottom of National League South, we have Chippenham Town on 20 points. Danny has put as well, the National League South is so tight the National League South is so tight. In the National League, first are 23 points ahead of 7th. In the South, 23 points below Torquay is past 18th. Yeah, it's very entertaining. And he said he'll pay for his taxi. Right, we will get on to the midweek games. I will just really quickly touch on the Dale Boreham Wood game because it was one fixture that obviously we did have that game in hand. I wasn't too sure what to make of it because we all know what Boreham Wood and a Luke Garrard team can do. First and foremost, I want to mention yet again how much of a professional Luke Garrard is. You could obviously see his frustrations after the game. Obviously, you could see just the way Boreham Wood were playing. It weren't the Boreham Wood that we've seen a lot of times this season. We've seen them playing really good football. We've seen them grind out the results. We just weren't on it. I know they had a lot of players missing, obviously through injuries, suspensions as well. But such a classy guy, Luke Garrard is. Obviously, his pre-match interview talking about Dale and Jim McNulty, his post-match interview as well, yet again. And what I absolutely love from Luke Garrard, when he was talking about Dale and the Dale players, he named every single one of our players when he was talking about them. And I thought that was really, really good from him. Also gave credit to Jim McNulty and what we're doing as well. So just wanted to point that out once more because such a professional he is. But yeah, from a Dale perspective, very good performance. It's always good when you get 2 goals from Manny Dizarue. Devante Rodney also got one. Then Ian Henderson comes on and gets a goal. So 3 of your forwards scoring. It's also really, really good for that to happen. Boreham Wood, obviously, did score. It was a penalty. Silly from Oliver Watmouth, may I add, to be fair to him. It's the first silly decision I've really seen him make this season. He's still young, probably should have done better, but I'm not going to fault him. Like I said, it's the first decision I've seen him really he lost his head a little bit with it, to be fair to him. But yeah, didn't save the penalty. Boreham would score, but very good performance from Dale again. And my voice is going, so I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, very professional from Dale.
Shah, just did you get a little bit I mean, fantastic for Rochdale. And whenever the games come along, whoever the opposition now, and quite often it's been top opposition, you're well into this run of games against good sides now. It continues, obviously, with Forest Green. I'm so, and still so few goals conceded, and it's looking really, really good. And we'll talk more about the title race perhaps when we look at the table and we look at Saturday's games. But I just wondered on Boreham Wood. It's interesting because Joe's made the comment, not tonight, but on our podcast that Boreham Wood have been found out, and I don't know if I concur with that or not. What do you think? I mean, look, they're on a bad run. I've been trying to look at their team and see if they're setting up differently. I see the absence in the last few games, and I don't know what the reason is. I haven't checked if he was on the bench, but Callum Reynolds hasn't been playing. That guy, I've got so much respect for. I put him in my all-time National League 11 that we had to do an article for the playoff final program last year. I don't know the story. I don't know if he's injured or whether he's out of favour or whether indeed he had a poor game in one of those early defeats they had. But I think he'll be a notable miss right now. They've gone from the perfect cocktail, scoring 2s and 3s and lots of nils against, to like a couple of 3-0 defeats and a 4-1. Any pointers that you could see on that night? Are they just lacking in confidence at the moment, or?
Possibly. I know it's obviously key. I know they're missing, is it 5 5 key players. Luke Garrard mentioned.
They don't have a big squad. This was always
Yeah.
the doubt for me, and I think it's more that than they've been found out. Me and Joe don't agree on that one. I think we all said if Boreham Wood had half the number of players out that Aldershot have been running with all season, they wouldn't be where they were. They just you just can't be, can you?
Yeah, I agree with this, to be honest, Danny. I don't think they've been found out. The level has dipped slightly, injuries, and people have taken advantage. I still think they'll come good again. And also, them suspensions obviously didn't help their cause. And I know Luke Garrard was obviously so annoyed with that. And obviously, that interview after Boston basically said just how them decisions really, really frustrated him. They shouldn't. Obviously, it was just stupid decisions. They're already down with the size of the squad due to these injuries, and he basically said we're playing like top of the league, and it was just silly from that point. I feel like with Dale, don't get me wrong, there was a couple of chances early on with Boreham Wood where I thought, oh, they look pretty good. Obviously we kept Abdul Malik pretty quiet, which is obviously one player we've all seen is absolutely quality. I am stunned how he's still in the National League because I genuinely thought in a January transfer window, an EFL club would have snapped him up. But from a perspective, just from watching that game, I don't really want to say, oh, they were awful, Boreham Wood and stuff. I want to give more credit to Dale because I feel like Dale really, really did perform very, very well. Our defence as well. We've been like Ebanks Landell, Hiram Gordon, and Callum Perry, who it's been announced today we've got till the end of the season. He's on loan from Coventry for replacement for Sam Beckwith. They have been brilliant. But Emmanuel Desirue, I don't know if you managed to see the goals, especially his second goal from him, but it's just so vital having him back. And I know I've mentioned it on here before on my own channel. As much as obviously it didn't seem like we missed him that much because we were still winning games, it's surprising when you have Emmanuel Desirue there how much he offers and brings to us. And it's not just goals, it's his holding up the ball, it's his even going deep, defending. He's just absolutely brilliant. And as much as obviously I know Boreham Wood are having a dip at the moment, I just wanted to give more credit to us because I felt like that performance from Rochdale was a very, very good professional performance against a Boreham Wood side when we know what Luke Garrard can do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I watched most of the game, Shah, yeah, Rochdale were very, very good value for the win, and yeah, fair play to them.
Rich has put as well, losing Jeff King back to York has made a big impact.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that because their replacement's been Cameron Cox, and Cameron Cox is a more than good enough National League right back, but Jeff King's been excellent for us. I'll talk on us a little bit when we get onto the weekend's games, but I know people saying, oh, they postponed the game against us at the start of Jan because they'd lost Jeff King, but I think that's disrespectful to Cameron Cox, who I think is more than capable at this level. I think he's a very good right back. He played pretty well when we played them at our place in October, I think it was September, October. We drew 2-2 with them, and he never looked out of place. Sometimes you see a player in our league and he looks like he should be in the league below. He never looked out of place, and he hasn't in previous seasons. So I think it's slightly disrespectful saying Jeff King coming back to the big impact. I think he's talented. I think Jeff King's really good, but I think that's a bit harsh on Cameron Cox, who I think is more than good enough in that position.
Just really quickly as well before we move on, obviously about the Boreham Wood situation. Callum's put Scunny beat them comfortably and they haven't really recovered since. And then Joe has had his point on Boreham Wood and put, I think goalkeeper is another big one. Ashmore was shipped out on loan earlier in the season as he wasn't deemed up to it. Recalled recently and hardly won a game since.
They have had some keeper issues, I think, because they had someone who got recalled. I know they had Finn Herrick, I think, was on loan from West Ham. He played against us and he's quite good. They've had Ashmore play games and they've used more than those two keepers. I can't remember names off the top of my head, but I know they've used more than just those two keepers. Is he the one that's been playing at the moment, or is
Curd's been playing prior to Ashmore coming back? Ted Curd, yeah.
Good, yeah. I knew they'd use a few keepers.
Just really quick. Sorry,
you know about that with Rochdale. When you've gone through keepers because you've lost them to the Football League, where someone's been recalled, and then it's just created this chain where a Premier League team's recalled someone, then a Football League team's recalled someone, then National League team has lost their keeper, and it's like, ouch. And I think that's exactly what's happened to Bournemouth this year.
Yeah, 100%. We've been lucky in one aspect where obviously we do have Tom Miles, but I don't know if Jim just doesn't see him good enough for a number 2 at the moment for the league. He's obviously played in the cup games. Young lad who we did get from Manchester United Academy. We've got him for a year. We're lucky in the aspect we do have Oliver Watmuth on loan from Manchester City. When we did lose him to injury, we got Nathan Broom from Bolton Wanderers, who we had on loan. And to be fair to Broom, I thought he was an extremely good replacement. And he's one player who, if we don't get Oliver Watmuth back, which is obviously looking very unlikely, because there's so many, obviously, bigger clubs, even Premier League clubs interested in him, I would have Nathan Broom back in a heartbeat because I thought he was really, really good for us. But yeah, I completely agree, especially last season. That was just...
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking last season for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweeper keeper. I do like that one. Joe. So we did have another 2 games. We won't just talk about Rochdale. So Altrincham 1, Morecambe 1, and Forest Green Rovers 4, Woking 2. And I'm pretty sure Woking were actually winning that game, weren't they? Does anybody want to talk about those?
Yeah, watch. I was flicking around between the 3 games, and I noticed Woking went ahead through Ollie Sanderson, and then Kirkhoff, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, pulled them level. But so after about quarter of an hour, Woking were 2-1 up, and it was 2-1 up to Woking at half time. So bit of an interesting one. But Nick Horton, Ricardo Rees, and is it Tom Knowles anyway, scored for Forest Green in the second half, and they got across the line in that one. Much needed win. They're certainly treading some difficult ground at the moment, aren't they, Forest Green? And my comment on them is I keep just because of my preparation for commentary and stuff, I keep an ongoing spreadsheet with the comings and goings of players. And of all the sheets I've got in the National League, there's no busier one than the Forest Green one. There may be some players have gone out that I don't know about, but it's looking like 41 players now. And I just don't know how you build any real ongoing togetherness and team spirit when you're working with so many players, when it's like the door's like a, what do you call it when it goes round and round?
Revolving.
That's the one. Yeah. Enough word. I couldn't think of it. Revolving. It's like a revolving door, So
I'll touch on Forest Green when we get onto the weekend's fixtures as well, because there's been some stuff said, and from what I saw at the weekend, I'll touch on that a bit more.
Did anybody watch Jim's first game for Morecambe at Altrincham?
I didn't know, because obviously I was at the Dale game. But I know Jem was in our group chat and she sent a few videos in and stuff. And the Morecambe fans look very, very it looked better in spirits and stuff. I know obviously we'll get onto weekend and it weren't the best and stuff. They got the point against Altrincham, but they seemed more in better spirits compared to in previous weeks with obviously Ash in charge. I personally think it's too late for Morecambe, if I'm being completely honest. I don't want to be all doom and gloom, but I think just having someone like Jim Bentley back and bringing that familiar face in, and somebody who the fans can trust, and fans have that kind of a bit similar to us with Jim McNulty. We have that familiar face, and you just know they are going to try and give their 100,000% while they're there. They care about the club. they obviously love that club to bits. They love the fans. They know what it's all about. And I think even if Morecambe do end up going down, I know they are massively struggling. At least they've got that somebody there who kind of gets it and has that personal connection with the fans.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. So flitting between the three games that we're about to move on from, just to say, understandably, I didn't spend as much time on that game, largely because there were 11 goals in the other two games. But what I can say from of note of that game is two things. Number one, Altrincham do have one player who continues to be in very good form, and that's Crankshaw. He scored their goal, put them ahead after 56 minutes. And it was a belting free kick from Jack Nolan that got Morecambe level. Brilliant free kick from outside the area. Stunning goal. So, that was pretty much the story of that one. It was kind of, you couldn't say that they'd had a new manager bounce or they hadn't had a new manager bounce. Not really until we went into the game on Saturday, which I guess we're going to come on to now.
Definitely. I'm just going to really quickly, before we move on, we've got a couple of comments. So Rich has mentioned keepers can make a massive impact. I remember when York had Nick Pope, we went from second bottom of League Two in January and got in the playoffs. And I'm guessing it is similar to the Forest Green comments when Matt Ugler has had a say on that too.
Yeah, about Forest Green and the revolving door. Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on the Forest Green as well. I know we will talk about it, but did anyone see Kieran Maguire and what he put about their outgoings and how much they're paying?
Yeah, I think it's just factual. I think they published their reports, and I think he put them up in a tweet. That's how it was. Yeah.
To be fair, I think it's slightly disingenuous to say all that money's going on playing staff. That does go across the entire staff of the club. So that will go on cleaners and cooks and then groundsmen, anyone like that are employed by the club. So when it says the wages, that does include everyone employed by the club, including Robbie and everyone else. But it is a staggering amount. But I also think we'll see quite a lot when we see Yorks, Carlisle's, even Bournemouth, Rochdale, Scunthorpe. When we see the rest of the playoff teams, is Forest Green going to be miles ahead of everyone else? Or are they not going to be too far from it? And you say that's actually not too bad. So we'll see what happens when we get around to April time, roughly, when financial year comes to an end.
Ours will probably be quite a bit just because of that. If they put in about our pitch as well.
Obviously, yours will be split up into ground maintenance and then players. So I think it'll be easy to read.
Ours will be more on the pitch than anything. Not just obviously for pitch maintenance and all what we've spent on doing the pitch up, but obviously hiring domes and stuff that we had at one point, because apparently they were quite a lot of money and things. So I'm putting it out there that ours is going to be very scary. I think people will jump on it and think we've spent a lot without reading that we've spent a lot of money on our pitch. I'm putting it out there now because it's 100% going to happen. Morgan, do you want to speak first?
Don't want to talk about York or another game?
Whatever you want to do.
Sound. I'm gonna be slightly annoying and touch on another game and just the half-5 game.
You were it.
Just because Nathan Shakuna of Wealdstone, he scored twice and I think he's brilliant. He was at Eastleigh last year, only got 7 games and didn't do much, unfortunately, in 7 games. But he was at Tamworth at the start of last season and he's a really talented player for this level, and I think he goes slightly under the radar for his quality. I think there's also, because Tamworth are known to be semi-pro, and we know Wealdstone are probably the best run semi-pro club definitely in the country, possibly in the world, considering how good the English Premier League is. He goes from a really well-run semi-pro club, goes professional for 7 games, and then goes back to semi-pro, and he scored twice at the weekend, and gets them 2-2 draw. Eastleigh are in a bit of a weird spot because they took Scott Bartlett from Western-super-Mare. His name. I knew it was Bartlett. I can't remember his first name. Took him, and they've just not really kicked on. They're still just kind of existing in our league. You don't ever look at them as a massive relegation threat. You don't ever really look at them as a playoff threat. At the start of the season, I said they could be a playoff threat because I thought surely now they kick on. But Paul McCullum's gone to Dorking, and Tyree Shade's gone to Burton. Was actually linked higher up in the pyramid in January. Aaron Blair signed from Maidstone. Obviously, Ben, you'll know him quite well. Signed from Maidstone in the summer, and he's not really done much. We've not really heard his name. I don't know if there's been an injury in there, but Wealdstone have done well to get Chacuna while Eastleigh have just kind of stood still this year.
Yeah, Aaron Blair's doing well for Eastleigh in a side that's underachieving. Definitely below average, below expectations, but he's into double figures. And I've seen him play.
Not really heard his name this year.
Yeah, no, he's played twice this season and scored in both games against Aldershot. And I think he's come up a level and he's doing absolutely fine individually, but as a team, they're definitely under par.
That's fine.
Just going to come to Graham's comment. He's put, National League completes a set. I'm in Desmond heaven tonight. Desmond Claxon. There's no 0-0 though, is there, for Luke? No 0-0 for him.
Well, Woking and Boreham Wood and Brackley and Solihull and Gateshead Braintree, he can call them 0-0s if he likes.
Got here as well. So Finley's football coaching has put, so glad Yeovil didn't pay for comp for Bartlett and got Rowley instead. And then Joe was put, obviously, on this, really surprised by Bartlett Eastleigh. Like him as a coach, especially given he has so many of his ex-Western players, Humphreys, Pearson, Waite, etc. I am surprised it hasn't got going. Are we all surprised?
Yeah, I am. I mean, considering the fact that, I knew what he achieved at Western was nothing short of a miracle, really, given their lack of resources that they've got as a club, obviously the part of the country it's in. He's sort of gone overachieved there. I mean, they were very unfortunate to miss out on playoffs last season. And yeah, I think when you take all that into context, he's got obviously a few of his ex-boys down there. He would have been very familiar, obviously, with players that have gone there, like the likes of Aaron Blair, obviously from watching Western against us last year, and obviously Temi Aweka as well. There's players in there that he should know a lot about. And yeah, I must admit, I maybe didn't think he'd probably get towards maybe the playoffs or anything like that. Maybe just because it's been a bit inconsistent for them. And like I said, we've normally, like as Morgan alluded to, the fact that they never, they seem to get on a good run. They're in a playoff era sort of around Christmas time, and then all of a sudden they just drop right down, and then they finish like 15th. But at the moment, they are in a relegation battle at the moment, and it's a bit of a test now for Scott Bartlett. Different sort of challenge. I mean, Western, he probably wasn't under that same pressure, but given the amount of money that goes into Eastleigh's playing squad, that it's a big pressure job for them now. And with 16 games left, they've got to make sure it's not a disaster of a season. He's got to keep them up. And, look, the playoffs are probably too much for them now, to be honest. They've like 15 points off it. So, yeah, the ultimate aim really is to get to that 50-point mark. And, yeah, I'm surprised because I think they're some really good players there, to be honest. Players that, I'm big fans of, but for whatever reason, it's just not clicked so far.
Ben, do you know what? I'm going to come back to you. Anyone here you want to give a mention to?
I've already seen Danny in the comments section as alluded to. I was going to go for Truro City beating Morecambe. Sorry, Jen. I was going to give a lot of credit to Morecambe, considering the fact that they got a good point away in the Tuesday night at Altrincham. Sort of kickstart the Jim Bentley reign again. But that's a very damaging result in terms of the relegation battles. It was really, for me, a must-win game for them, and they've completely failed it 2-0 down at half time, and the second goal they've conceded is nothing short of probably embarrassing from their point of view. I mean, Miguel Aziz loses the ball so cheaply, and they've gone down the other end and scored. And Tyler Harvey's one man you can't leave unmarked in the 6-yard box. He was made a knack of that last season for Truro in the National South title-winning season. But for Truro, like I say, to go away from home, I've been again like every other game they have to go to the division. I think it's their first away win, is it, of the season as well? So it's again, massive credit for John Askey's side, who have stayed in there. To be fair, they're not going away quietly. I mean, they're 4 points off safety at the moment, and game in hand over Braintree as well. So it's not over for them at the moment. I still think they're going to go down. I think I've said that from the start of the season. I think it's going to be too much for them, but I've got to give them some credit because they already are giving it a good go. No one expects them to do anything this year. They're a side that pretty much just happy to be at this level. This is like unknown territory for them. But to go to an ex-league club like Morecambe and put a result like that past them, it's really going to have a bit of a test now for Jim Bentley now, because now he's probably thinking, what have I got myself into? But like you say, Sharp, it probably is a bit too late for them possibly. The fact that to save the season, but a couple of wins, and they're talking about being out the bottom four. I mean, we're nearly 30 games in, and the team's only just halfway to get into the 50-point mark, really. Even the ones that are just outside the bottom four. So it's so close and everything like that. Maybe at this point, maybe 50 points isn't going to be quite, the mark that everyone needs to get to, because I think it's going to be lower than that at this rate. Maybe 46, 47 possibly. But yeah, they've given themselves a fighting chance at the very least.
What worries me with Markham is the fact that they should be trying to get results around the teams in and around them at the bottom, and they're not even doing that, are they?
No.
That's what worries me massively.
One point out 6 against sides around them. It's not good enough for them, really, is it? Sorry, Morgan.
I think it was me. Was it you, Morgan, or was it me?
I wasn't trying to say anything, no.
Sorry.
I was just going to say it isn't the greatest start for Jim Brentley, but you've got to give the guy 4, 5, 6 games to get to grips with what he's got. I think I saw his post-match words in the non-league paper, and I think he said he learned a lot about, and you learn more in defeat, don't you? So, and he'll learn quickly. He's an experienced manager, but it does feel like a double blow. It almost feels like more than one defeat in one, if you know what I mean, because they've lost out. That said, if Morecambe are gonna make a fight of it, there's other teams they've got to get past, not just Truro. So yeah, terrific win for Truro. Give them the credit. That's a very, very, very long way from home, isn't it? And they're loyal supporters, and they do travel for the size of their club in quite good number, don't they? So that will have been one of, if not their most enjoyable return trip on the weekend. Whenever they did come back, they wouldn't have got back before Sunday, would they? That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. I'm just going to come to the chat for a second. Another team that is unfortunately struggling, but Luke, bless him, he's still in very good spirits. He's still in very good humour as well. He has put Braintree Water Polo Club at home. Great win for us. The pitch did very well in soaking as much water as possible. So that was obviously for Gateshead versus Braintree Town, which was postponed. But at least you're still smiling, Luke. That is the main thing. It is. Rob, I am going to come to you, but not Aldershot for the time being. What other games on here stand out to you?
I could throw it back at you. Go Rochdale 1, Carlisle 0. No, I'm going to go with Scunthorpe and Southend. Scunthorpe, a little bit like that side just above them there, Rochdale, have been coming up against some of the other tough teams at the top, and they've been doing all right, haven't they? They beat Boreham Wood, I think, without conceding. They've beaten Scunthorpe without conceding. I don't know too much about the story of this game, but I just want to doff my cap once again to Scunthorpe, because Southend are not in prolific form at the moment. I'll see them on Wednesday night. They're coming to the EBB. But that's a tremendous 3 points for Scunthorpe. But it's, what it's done is it's cemented the fact that everybody keeps looking for them to slip away and drop out. Oh, they'll be the ones that do. But hello, as we'll see in a minute, they're up to 3rd place now.
Exactly.
I can't build a case for them being in the title race, and why should I? They are in an extremely promising position to make the playoffs, and we're in the middle of February. So well done, Scunthorpe United.
We do have Callum in the chat as well. He's put another big win for Scunny. Although our pitch is getting worse, it's like a beach. Good luck to York and Rochdale trying to play their football on it. Don't you worry. We've played on pitches like that before, our own included. We've played on it when it's been dry. We've played on it when it's been absolutely sodden as well. Callum, so don't you worry about that.
And I don't know if that is just... I don't think that is Callum Roberts who plays for Scunthorpe. It could be, of course. But just to say that Callum Roberts did score the goal, and I'm pretty sure it was his 100th appearance as well for Scunthorpe. So good day all round for Callum Roberts and the Callum Roberts fan club.
Yes. Love it, love it. So, Morgan, Rob, who wants to go first to talk about their teams?
I think Morgan shouldn't he? Really? Let's do the top of the league. Come on, let's have the York and the Rochdale loving. Come on.
Okay. Right, where do I start?
That's enough of that, Morgan. Right.
Yeah, all right. I'll start. 1-2-1 against Forest Green. First 15 minutes were pretty equal, to be fair. I thought they actually gave us a decent game. First 15 minutes, then we get a penalty. It's a corner, gets recycled, back out to Jeff King, and I think he's going down before all there's contact, but the defender dives in when he's on the touchline. It's like he gives the ref no choice, and there's a couple of dubious handballs. Shara, you're right there.
Has she seen some chat or?
The camera just started falling. No, there was a couple of dubious handballs that should have been given as penalties. We got a soft one, but we would have been given another one anyway. And Alex Hunt steps up and scores it. He's taken the last 3 for us now. Ollie Pearce isn't on penalties anymore. So everyone can stop saying Ollie Pearce only scores penalties because he don't even score them anymore. He don't take them. And then we kind of just controlled the game. But then we scored probably my favourite goal of this season and one of my favourite goals we've scored in a long time, which I actually put on Twitter if anyone's seen it. It is a masterclass in drawing out a press. It's right before half time, and I think almost every member of our team touches the ball. And we take this throw in, and when we take it, Ricardo Reese is the only player in our half. They're all behind the ball, pretty controlled, expecting to go into half time. And then by the time Alex Hunt plays this brilliant pass down the pitch to Joe Gray, they've only got 3 players in their own half because we've drawn them all into our half and then just gone long to one of the quickest players I've seen play for us. It's a brilliant, brilliant goal. And Rob, what you're saying about Forest Green's revolving door, one of their fans replied to my tweet saying, yeah, we look a bit of a mess and like we've only just come together. He said, would hardly call what we're attempting a press. The entire sequence is not bothered. Most of our players have been here for 2 weeks and not gelled. And I think that's a massive indictment of their recruitment, where Transfer Market says they've got 34 players. Obviously, your spreadsheet, 41, whatever it is, that's an insane number of players. And you can't put together a proper tactical setup with that much turnover in a squad. And the reason why Dale is so good, the reason why York's so good, the reason why Boreham would have been so good is because they've got these set players and you know who you're going to and you know everyone knows what the system is, rather than Forest Green just constant overturn of we're going to get a new player in and hope it works. And it's not. And the one player that has stood out though for them is Carl McAllister, who then got a goal back on the 65th minute and did make it edgy for the last 25 minutes. I was staring at that game quite intently. My dad was saying stuff to me in my ear and I was just staring at the game, getting very, very nervous as that went on. We held on and it almost felt better than some of the 4-0 wins we've had in a weird way, where there's that sense of relief of that's a really big win against a good team, rather than those games that I'm sure you've had them, are kind of over within about half an hour. And especially when it's cold and you're sat there and it's like, okay, I've got nothing to excite me for the next hour. And you just sat there getting cold. I quite enjoyed the Forest Green game because it was edgy, it was nervy. They went for it, even if you could tell there was a bit of an issue with their squad and their press and how much more tactically aware we were. But I did think it made for quite a good game. And Carl McAllister might not stay if they're signing this many players and they've got someone that talented. The Football League might take him back, whoever that might be. But that's now 1 goal conceded in our last 4, so we are starting to put together a good defence. We mentioned Jeff King earlier in the show. He's brilliant. And Ben Brooks, who I love, having 2 proper fullbacks that can drop deep when you need them to, as well as being able to bomb on, I think have both been excellent. But Jeff King was poor. It was his fault for the goal. I don't really remember it. It was the other end of the pitch. So fair enough. He might have been at fault, but I think he's brilliant.
I'll literally be back in 2 seconds. I need another drink. My throat's going on me, guys.
What I will say though, Morgan, is how many penalties have you had this year? Because I swear you get a penalty every week now. So we're seeing you. I know that, but they've scored quite a few as well, haven't they?
Yeah. It's because we're in everyone's box, by the way. I don't want to say the refs are doing us a favour. We are in everyone's box all the time. Let me see. I might be able to find how many penalties we've got. I am just quickly on Sofa Score. So please excuse me.
You ask a stato a question, Ben. You've got to wait for the answer.
whilst we wait for that, Rob, should we come to you about Aldershot's excellent win on Saturday against Halifax?
Ben, we've had 11.
11
penalties. Yeah, Pierce has had 8 and Hunt's had 3.
And how many
Is that the
scored?
goal? Is that the ones that have been scored, or
No, that's total. We've scored 8 of the 11. Pierce has scored 5 of 8, and Hunt's 3 out of 3.
It's quite a lot still, even for this stage of the season, I have to say.
Yeah.
Imagine you're Ollie Pierce, you've been taken off penalties. I say it's fair enough if you missed 3, isn't it? But
he took them off himself. He gave the ball to Alex Hunt, and then Alex Hunt scored it, and he just kept on. So I think it's a gentleman's agreement between the two of them. I don't think Maynard's had an input on it, to be honest.
Fair enough. It's, just worthy of note, isn't it, that in terms of the individual Golden Boot race in the National League, Ollie Pierce has pretty much got it won already. Middle of February, not even there yet. I think he's at least 10, 11 goals ahead of anyone else, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, he's got 27. Matt Rush has 15. Manny Disarue has 14. So he's 12 ahead of second. It's
in fairness, obviously, Disarue. Well, we'll come on to them, I'm sure, very shortly. But Disarue, I think, and obviously was out injured for a little while. I think he's aging like a fine wine. I think he's probably as good a player now as he's ever been. A player that I'm not saying he's at the level or better or worse or whatever, but someone who got better and better and more consistent as he got older was in the Effiong. He had little flashes and little runs, but that period when he was at Woking with the 14 goals, followed by 19 at Aldershot, and then straight to Dagenham and smashing them in, he was really hitting his level. And he was 31, 32 years old. And I don't know how old, if anyone can get it up, Disarue is, but he's been around a little. Yeah, he's been around a little while now, and I remember him being in and out of the Grimsby team that went up, that beat Wrexham in the playoffs, didn't they? And I think he even came off the bench that day. He wasn't a first pick, but
he turns 31 later this month. By the way, Rob, he's 30.
Yeah.
He turns 31 in Feb.
Yeah, so I think those two players that spring to mind, Ini Effiong and Manny Disarue, they have hit 30, and they've hit their peak, whereas a lot of other players tend to peak at 26, 27, 28. But fair play to them. Well, look, Shah, Morgan's told us all about York's win. I think we really should keep at that level of the league and hear about Rochdale and Carlisle.
Yeah, definitely. So unfortunately, I couldn't go to this game because I was poorly. I had no voice, but I did watch it. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a thriller of a game. Not at all. Probably one of the most boring performances that I have seen.
Did you care?
What's that? Sorry?
Did you care about that?
I didn't care.
No,
And
exactly.
one person I want to talk about is Dan Moss, because everybody, Tarin El-Arakia, when the team sheet went out and stuff, I saw on Twitter and stuff, and everyone was like, why is El-Arakia not playing? He did exactly the same as well against the Southend game. And as much as I love Tarin El-Arakia, I think he's so, so good. Very, very good player going forward. I felt like this game, very similar to the Southend game, we needed that person on the left-hand side. But obviously, did he play on the right-hand side, Dan Moss? Did he switch up with Toby? Anyway, I can't remember, because him and Toby sometimes switch sides. But on one of the sides, anyway, we need someone that's a little bit more defensive. Yes, it was the left. It was the left. I was right. Never should doubt myself. But yeah, Dan Moss shown yet again what a great, great player he is. Somebody who we've not really seen that much this season, even though Woking fans, when we did sign him, said he is a solid, solid player, very good defender, but he will always show up now and again with a goal. He doesn't score them very often, but when he scores a goal, they are the goals that matter. And my God, did this goal matter? Very similar to the Harvey Gilmore winner against Southend, where obviously we put the ball in, and Dan Moss actually said we have been practicing it a lot in training, and he's not yet scored one. It's not paid off for him, but it was just basically a tap in. Got there very quick, a tap in, and it's very similar, like I said, to the Pritchard straight to Harvey Gilmore against Southend. It was the same with obviously Dan Moss, scored a vital goal, and he really, really deserves it because his performances as of late have been absolutely brilliant, Dan Moss. Carlisle, to be fair, very, very disappointed. If I'm a Carlisle fan, watching that performance, I know a lot of them are very, very disappointed anyway with Mark Hughes at the moment, and they feel like they should be doing better in obviously the National League. I know a lot of Carlisle fans were mocking, even at the ground as well, were mocking our back three, Perry, Ebanks, and Kyron Gordon, because I don't know if any of you have seen the clip that's gone viral, but of all three players passing the ball amongst each other for several seconds, to be honest, maybe even a minute at this point.
Several minutes, yeah.
Yeah. As a Rochdale fan, I'm taking that as a massive negative for Carlisle, because surely if you're Carlisle in that position, you press them three players. They're basically taking the mick out of you. It was 0-0 as well at this point. They're taking the mick out of you at this point, just passing it amongst themselves. If you're one of them players, you try and press, you try and put pressure on those defenders, but they didn't. And
no, I think they were carrying out their game plan. They were told to do that. They were told don't go pressing, sit back, get into the mid or the low block, whatever it was, and didn't. And there was no initiative for them to try and change that. I'm presuming you were doing this when you were 1-0 up already, were you?
No, it was 0-0 at this point.
Really?
It was honestly.
So it was a proper game of cat and mouse then. It was a proper game of cat and mouse.
Yeah,
I think it's
sorry,
just an indictment of how good York and Rochdale are. I know Danny put that comment in about how I said Forest Green it wasn't going to be an easy game for Forest Green against Rochdale. Not an easy game for Rochdale against Forest Green, but I think the clip that I've quote tweeted and that one that's gone viral both are a massive indictment of how good York and Rochdale are, because Forest Green tried to press against us and we pulled them apart. Carlisle didn't press against you and got mocked for it, because if they press you, you'll pull them apart. If anyone, I think it would happen to Bournemouth when they're on form. If you try and press them, you do it badly and you get pulled apart. You either have to be brave enough and you're capable of doing it. I don't think anyone is brave enough and capable of pressing York or Rochdale to a point where they'll beat us. Oldham could do it last year and they beat us, but I don't think anyone in the league this year can press York or Rochdale to a good enough standard to take the ball off us. I think you've perfected it. Jim Nolte's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, honestly, when I saw it, I thought, we can all laugh at our defenders, and don't get me wrong, watching it and stuff, and that's the football that we play week in, week out. Not necessarily to that extent with just them three players at the back. But I'm thinking, you're all taking the mick out of us, but I see it as more as a negative to Carlisle at the end of the day, because they should be doing better. Obviously, Regan Linney was nowhere to be seen. He wasn't in the squad. I'm not too sure what's happening with Regan Linney at the minute, whether he's got an injury, whether it was due to illness. Not too sure. Con Clark obviously came on pretty late on into the second half, but just again, wasn't a great performance from Dale. Wasn't a great performance or game for both teams. But like you said, Rob, didn't need to be. We obviously did the job. Another 3 points. And yeah, I'm nervous for Wednesday against Forest Green because I don't really know what to expect. I know, obviously, I've heard from Morgan, his point of view on Forest Green. I know they have a couple of RX players as well who I think will be up for it. One being Cairo Mitchell. I don't know if he's been playing recently. I know he's had an injury. Another, Jillaby Abu, obviously being another one as well. So they'll obviously want a point to prove as well. So I don't know what will happen there. But yeah, very, very good from Rochdale yet again. And it's nice to see when we're not putting in a great performance that we're still obviously getting those wins. And that's something that we haven't really seen in a long time. We were usually on the other side of it. So yeah, it's really, really nice to do that. Mm-hmm. But Graham's put, I think they need a new food supplier at Carlisle because the grapes they currently have are definitely sour. One thing that is making me laugh though with Carlisle, and it's something that's gone on throughout the season, they're still saying they should be promoted because of the crowds that they get. And I turned around to them, I was like, we may not get the big crowds. We know this. Like, we've known this for years. But we've got the 6 points from them this season. So at the end of the day, we may not have the crowds that they have. And it's amazing to have someone like that, and he's still getting the big crowds in non-league. I'm not taking anything away from them. But at the end of the day, this season, we've got the 6 points from them. So
yeah,
just going to put that one out there.
I'm not just because I think we've got a little theme going on here, York and then Rochdale. Can you flash up the table for us for a moment? Because I just want to make a point about where we're at in the in the title race. So look, to just logically now, because the gap in points is around about 9-10 points. I'm just going to put 1 point and one question to you guys. My point is, I do genuinely believe that it's a 2-horse race now, because if there was one team 9 or 10 points ahead, it wouldn't be over, because they could fall and others could come through. But there is no way, is my point I put it, that both Rochdale and York are going to collapse from here. So I think it is now between the two of you. And my question to you guys is this: do we now have the perfect example that's going to affect our ongoing opinions? There are people that say that defenses win you titles, and there are people that say that goal scorers win you titles. Is this the ultimate test of that going to play out in front of us for the remaining 17, 18 games left?
Shad, do you want to go first? Or?
No, Morgan, you can.
I mean, I just want to put it on record. I've said it several times on this podcast. I think Rochdale are going to win the title because I think their defence is going to do it. I'm going to reiterate that opinion because we dropped too many points earlier in the season. Rochdale have been so consistent all the way through the year. I think it's their title. What I'm terrified of is the playoffs, because we've lost Scunthorpe this year. We drew Forest Green. We've never, I don't think we've ever beaten Boreham Wood. I think we've only ever had score draws against Boreham Wood. And Halifax and Southend or Hartlepool could be up for it. So I'm just scared of what happened last year. Like, we got 96 points and then got smacked by a team on a good run. I think Rochdale take it. Defence wins championships was said there, and I'm just hoping that we can do the playoffs. Also, I don't know if you saw Sharp, but a Carlisle fan put it on Twitter. Against us and against York and Rochdale, Carlisle haven't scored this year and have conceded 11 times in those 4 games. A 1-0, a 2-0, a 3-0 and a 5-0. Not scored in 4 games against York and Dale.
Wow, I didn't see that.
Yep, it's quite funny.
Wow.
it almost makes you wonder if Mark Hughes thinks, right, what we need to do is beat the bottom 3/4 of the league table when we play them, and then hold out and keep it tight and nick what we can against the others. But that's not going to get them promoted. It's not going to get them anywhere near the title anyway. That's for sure.
11-0 in 4 games.
Just on us, the thing that worries me, to be honest, is the fact that obviously we haven't really had that blip at the moment. Like, don't get me wrong, when Jim earlier on in the season, like the Brackley game, which we probably should have won, when he changed all them, I think he's learnt from them. But I know other teams have obviously had that little bit of a blip. We've not necessarily had that yet. So that worries me. But also the fact that we haven't played Scunthorpe at all yet. That's another thing that does worry me that little bit, because I don't really know like how we will go up against Scunthorpe. I know we play them at home this month and we play them again away. I don't think it's that long until we play them then again away.
You have a better chance away than you do at home, because away they came and bullied us, and I think we will have learnt from it. But away from home, they'll come with a bit of an attitude and they'll come and be physical. I think that'll be a harder game than in Lincolnshire.
That's what worries me, because I've not necessarily seen what we can do against them. And I feel like in them teams, obviously York aside, we always struggle against York. We always have struggled against York. But Scunthorpe, out of all them other teams in the playoffs, they're the team that really do worry me. When Rochdale obviously come up against, I feel like as well this month isn't the easiest month. We've passed so far We've obviously won every single game so far. We still obviously have to play your lot, Rob, at Aldershot. We obviously still have to play Yeovil, Halifax away. We got beat to Halifax, didn't we, at home? As much as we did come back into the game, we still got beat at home against Halifax. I think they're the only team that have actually beat us at home in the league, Halifax. So that obviously worries me. And we've still got to play Southend again very, very soon. I don't think that'll be as I don't want to say easy, because obviously it was a very, very late goal, but I felt like we did very well against Southend. They didn't look as well as I've seen them play before, but I think they'll have more of a point to prove. I think they'll be more up for it this time, especially at their place. So it's a really, really strange one for me, because looking at the table now with the games in hand, you'd think I'd be more like, yeah, it's ours and it's ours to lose, which I do think with those games in hand and we are winning the games, it is necessarily like in our own hands. But the other side of me, I don't really want to say too much, and I still don't want to say that we will win it, because there's still so many games to play.
What is incredible, though, fair play. I've doffed my cap to York and Rochdale at this point. 70 points in the second week of February, sharp, is incredible. 68 for York is. It's starting to now look much more like the Wrexham Notts County season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably going to get two sides with over 100 points here. You'd have to be much lower than your points per game average at the moment to not surpass 100 points both teams. So it's there is going to be a lot of twists and turns, because we are only not even quite 2/3 of the way through the season yet. That's it. It's exciting to be where you are and to have done as well as you are, but it's incredibly nerve-wracking as well. You're both thinking we've had the most incredible season, but we're nowhere near to actually getting it done.
Just to add on to that, last year Southend ended on 68 points and Halifax ended on 70 points in 6th and 7th. Oldham ended on 73. So if you beat Forest Green midweek, you will go level on points with Oldham's final total from last season. And if you get 4 more points, so if you get 4 more points, you will have so a win and a draw in your next 2 games, and you will have leveled your points total from last season already. You are that far ahead of last season that you're 4 points off it.
Wow, it's crazy, isn't it?
So you could be on 74 in 30 games compared to 74 in 46 last season.
I just hope it is both of us that go up. And I hope it's not one of us, obviously, next season sat here being like, we were so close, because like last year for you, Morgan,
I won't want to do it.
Honestly.
I've had the heartbreak of we got so close to not in the playoffs. If we do it again, I don't know what to think. Like, it would almost feel like, what's the point? Like, I've had these conversations. I've done it. Like, how much enjoyment can you really take from, let's just try not to do this again? And I know when the Ugglas came in, they said it's a 3-year plan to try and get us up. Well, year 1, we almost went down. Year 2, we got 96 points, so we were ahead of schedule last year if we had gone up. Year 3, we're kind of meant to do it according to plan, but I don't know. I don't want to do it.
It's true as well. This is so true.
I think it does also add to the point of the county and Wrexham. It's like, oh, that was a one-off, because we've never seen 2 teams get over 100 points and it get that far. We've always seen like one team run away with it, and then we're both on track to get 100 points again. It's like, if it's happened twice, that's not a coincidence. Once is impressive. Twice is a pattern of how in 2 seasons, 4 years apart is it? 2 teams got over 100 points. If we both get there, that is such an advert for 3 up, 3 down. And what's going to happen is we're going to get 3 up, 3 down, and then one of us is going to get relegated from the 3rd relegation spot in League 2. We're going to shout about it, and then we're going to be the first team to get hurt by it, aren't we?
Yeah, 100%. It'll be us. But Rob, you have waited very, very patiently. Talk to us. Aldershot Town 3, FC Halifax Town 2. This sounded like a very, very, very interesting game.
Well, I was just looking at the other scores, and it was actually the highest scoring game of the day. Aldershot involved in that shock.
Again.
Yeah, I gave the stat, didn't I, last week or the week before, that there were 3.74 goals per game in Aldershot games. It's gone up now, 3.77, I think. What the key takeaways from this game? I saw a very good Halifax Town side. I see why they are where they are in the table, and for an hour they put in almost the perfect away performance. They reduced us to two or three half chances, and in 2 moments of absolute quality, Will Harris finished with aplomb. He's a very, very good striker. I didn't realise it when I think he scored one of the 4 goals Halifax scored against us up at the Shea. And I was all very begrudging of them that day, and I thought they were quite ordinary and all the rest of it. And no, they've sustained it. They are a good side, and they could quite reasonably say they deserve to be in front after an hour. They were 2-0 up, and then I don't know if any of you've seen it. It's been, I think the National League put it out. Maybe BBC, sorry, Aldershot did as well. I can't remember, but in minutes 60, 62 and 65, Aldershot scored 3 times in 5 minutes. And the clip that's out there is like 5 minutes in 42 seconds. Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen some crazy things in the last few years, some crazy games, crazy goals. I've seen sometimes a team come from 2-0 down to win 3-2. When you see it all play out in front of you in 5 minutes, it's an absolute mind blower. And I will say as well, after that, Halifax had a couple of really good opportunities through Will Smith and Kieran Morris to actually get out of there with a 3-3 and a point that we wouldn't have begrudged them. But finally, some things are starting to go Aldershot's way in a difficult season. I think that's now 6 wins out of 8. Ridiculously, and as John Coleman says brilliantly, you could put a fag paper between 6 teams in that table right now, but they are up to 16th, which is phenomenal. We're only 4 points clear of the relegation zone, so it's most definitely not done. And we've got one of those horrible runs coming up again soon, which includes your side, Shah, and at some point I think it'll include quite a few others. Forest Green coming up again, Carlisle coming down to the EBB. So yeah, tough times ahead. Shout outs to Charlie Warren, who's a striker on loan from Bolton. And he's got 5 goals now in his 6 games since he's been with us. And interestingly, in Adam Lakeland's post-match, he let loose that he said it was a great finish from Charlie Warren, who I really wish we could have got. Halifax were in for Charlie Warren, but Aldershot obviously managed to prevail to get that loan. So you don't always see managers come out with things like that. I got a lot of respect for Adam Lakeland. I didn't meet him or speak to him on the day. I would like to meet and speak to him another time, because I thought he dealt really professionally and fairly with the talk of the ridiculous melee that went on past 90 minutes, really, which is just one of those things where it's an emotional game. There's a free kick not given, then another player takes it into his own hands to try and exact revenge, and then it was right in front of the Halifax dugout. Everybody came flying off onto the pitch, and I felt a little bit for the referee. He stayed right back. He stayed very calm, and then he started getting his cards out and doing what he did. And Kwame Thomas was one player that came rushing to Ollie Scott's aid, and I don't know what he did. I think he removed one of the substitutes off the pitch rather forcibly, I think. So he got red. I said this in commentary, so I'll say it on here as well. David Carwell was one of the Halifax subs that came off the bench onto the pitch, and he physically threw Ollie Scott to the ground. For me, that's a yellow card followed by a red, but he was shown red. And I don't know if they look at any of these incidents retrospectively. They probably don't at this level. But I thought he was a very lucky boy just to get a yellow. And Adam Lakeland was fair enough to admit that all kicked off because the ref didn't give Aldershot a free kick in the first place. And then another player took that into his own hands. You probably didn't hear much about that because at the end of the day, I guess the story was all about the 3 goals in in 5 minutes. Halifax can stay there. They can fight hard for that 7th place. I don't see them particularly finishing higher, but in that race between the Halifaxes and the Southends and maybe the Hartlepools and the Solihull Moors, I think they've got a shout now, having watched them again. I know they lost that game. But, yeah, that's the story of that one.
Love that. Love that. Just in the chat as well. Sorry, my voice is really playing up now. I'm rapidly falling out of love with football, but you did get the win. Did win 1-0 against Altrincham.
I think what he's doing there, I might be wrong on this, but I think he's quoted a famous John Coleman quote there, isn't he?
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Accrington, was it? When Coleman
Yes.
That's the one.
I do love the John Coleman quote.
Oh,
one of my favourites for a quote. Him and Keith Hill, who obviously were Dale's manager, very good for quotes.
Some beauties, some absolute beauties. He comes out with the odd like Scouse saying, and then he explains it, obviously, because he's in Hampshire. But no, really starting to enjoy some of the post matches with John. Obviously, they're more upbeat when you win. It's as simple as that, isn't it? But no, he is quite funny. He comes out with a few little belters, does John.
Has anybody got any other games that they do want to touch on before we do look at the league table?
No, I think so.
I think very quiet game from Christian's point of view, Boston.
Yeah.
Boston and Sutton, two of those teams who are not safe and trying to pull away from trouble. Apparently wasn't a great game. But Boston got it done. Paulhurst, I think that's back-to-back wins. Certainly they won at Boreham Wood anyway, and they beat Sutton. And that's their first home win in a really long time. And he's come in and he's quite quickly having an effect, is Paulhurst. I think we all thought he would, didn't we? I think that we all thought that might be the end of Boston's relegation fears. Again, like Aldershot, still not done. There's a lot of teams now involved in trying to avoid that fourth bottom or worse.
Definitely. And obviously, we do have a Yeovil fan in the chat. Very, very good win. Obviously, away from home at Altrincham. Good 1-0 win. You do want to send in a little bit of a match report. I will read it out. It's completely up to you. Any penalty saves in other games, you tell us. You tell us. I will read the table out, but you are more than welcome to send us in anything and I will read it out. So, the National League table. Top of the table, we do have Rochdale on 70 points. Second, we have York City on 68 points. In third place, we have Scunthorpe United on 59 points. Carlisle United are fourth, also on 59 points. Forest Green Rovers are fifth on 58 points. Boreham Wood are sixth on 56 points. And FC Halifax Town, they are seventh, that last playoff spot, on 47 points. And then in the relegation zone, 21st, we have Braintree Town on 28 points. Truro City are 22nd on 24 points. Morecambe are 23rd on 22 points. And look away, Luke, if you are still in the chat. Gateshead are bottom of the National League on 19 points. Really, really quickly. Need Jedwood to get a red midweek. Yeah. Jed Ward. Jed Ward is class. Billy Rowley is giving Works a few COD points. So good for the lads. I love it. I love it. But thank you so, so much, everybody, for tuning in. That is the end of the show. Rob, I am going to come to you first. Where can everybody find yourself on the socials and also NL Fulltime? I know you didn't get a chance to do a show this week because of availability. So we've had the pleasure of having you on today. But please let everyone know where they can find all of your amazing work.
Yeah, thank you, Shah. I appreciate that. We love the collaboration, and it certainly does feel really good to get on this week when we didn't manage to do our own one. We all sort of, like we do on this podcast, we all just volunteer our own time. There's no money in it. And sometimes people have other things going on in their lives, it kind of worked out okay because we actually had a National League manager lined up for this weekend's pod, and that didn't work. So hopefully we can rearrange everything. I'm at RobShot66 on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, and the podcast is at NL Full Time. And yeah, have a good rest of the week, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. I'm just really quickly going to answer this. I think obviously we should have stuck with Jim anyway, even though we did have that bad patch. From what he's done and where he has took us in the last few seasons when we've had issues going on, I think he's very, very good. I feel like Jim had to learn, had to bring people in to help him. But I think also it is due to us getting our new pitch now, finances behind us, obviously the players that we've brought in as well, like getting Manny Dizarue on a free. You can't complain at that. And just the squad depth and the players that we do have now, I think they are better quality. So I think it's a mixture of it all. But it is obviously down to Jim as well, massively. And yeah, I think he deserved the chance for what he's done with us in previous seasons. He deserved to stay with us, and he deserved to obviously have the chance of getting us back to the EFL, which hopefully, fingers crossed, he will. Sorry about that. Ben, thank you so much for helping me out tonight when I've needed to get a drink. I do appreciate it. Where can everybody find you on the socials?
Well, I was going to say as well, big shout out to Shah for getting through tonight with let's say not feeling 100%, smashed it out of the park again. Let's say only a second week back on hosting duties, but it's like she's never been away. So no, big you up, Shah, for that. It's Ben Stones FC1 on Twitter.
Thank you as well, Ben, for your kind words. And yes, I may sound like Sean Dyche, but it's Shah, really, I promise. Morgan, thank you so much for coming on. Where can everybody find you? And obviously all your stuff that you do as well, because I know you do a lot of blog writing, which is really, really good too.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at _Morgan_Bruce and in York Press ahead of most York City games. And I try to write stuff. There might be something coming up with our defence because Morgan Williams from Yeovil is fantastic, but I'm not going to go too much into him because it's 11:15 at night.
I was fuming when you signed him because he's one of my favourite players in the National League. And I was like, again, York, again, honestly. Like, he's such a good player to have, but I was fuming from like a neutral perspective because I love Morgan Williams. I think he's fantastic. But yes, if anybody does want to find me on the socials, I am SharXRAFC. That is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I know I've been very, very quiet on my channel, Ball and All with Shah as well. I am due to do a Let's Talk Rochdale very soon, but the voice hasn't been cooperating. So I promise I will do one over the next few days, and it will include, obviously, Boreham Wood, Carlisle, and the Forest Green game. I do apologise for that, but as you all know, my voice just hasn't been working. But of course, the main ones, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. On Twitter, we are Absolute Ball Pod. YouTube and Twitch, Absolute Football Podcast. TikTok, Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football. And on Facebook, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's lots and lots and lots of content going on. Turn on the bell notification. Like the stream. We do appreciate it. But as I say, lots of content going on. On a Monday, you can catch us. We are Absolutely Non-League in collaboration with NL Full Time. And we cover National League North, National League South. On a Tuesday, it is Sam and the Premier League team. Spoiler alert, I am on the show tomorrow. I'm hoping my voice holds up, but it is a watch along. We are watching the Manchester United West Ham game. It is myself, Sam, and Grimmy. Will he be able to cut all his hair off? Will they get 5 wins in a row? Who knows? But you can watch the game with us if you really want to do that. On a Wednesday, Freya, Paul, and the rest of Team Chaos talk all things women's football on Absolutely Women's Football. That's WSL, WSL2, and everything else that you can think of. And then on Thursday, I am back. I'm hoping I have no voice for this one because we've scored so many goals against Forest Green. Who knows? Who knows? But it is me and the Rowdy Rabble with Absolutely Lower League Show. And we cover everything from the EFL Championship, League One, and League Two. It is FA Cup as well this weekend. So we have lots of lower league teams and non-league teams, obviously, in that draw. Will anybody be able to do a cup upset? I'm hoping Macclesfield. I think we're all hoping Macclesfield on here, but will it happen? Who knows? But thank you so, so much to everybody that has tuned in tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hope you all have a lovely week. And I will see you tomorrow on the Absolutely Premier League show with Sam.